Hello, hello, hello. What is up, everyone? What is good this Sunday evening and Monday morning to those of you watching from Singapore, lovely Singapore. Hopefully, there are some of you, some of Dick's friends. Hopefully, your Dick's buddies are here or are going to tune in at some point after you wake up from your slumber and tune in and support your boy. But good to see you all. Of course, who do we have here? So, John Nguyen. Hopefully I said that right, John. I don't know if you're here or if you're going to tune in a bit later. Hopefully you're going to come in at some point. I don't think you're here now. Number one Marvel fan. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you, sir. Ready for some art talk? I believe we have some talking to do. So that's going to be, should be some good fun. Mr. Red Jack, of course, thank you very much. Good to see you. And thanks for the warm welcomes to everyone, as always. The Rickster. Or should I say the Rickster? I should not never get that wrong. What's up, sir? Good to see you, man. And CJ, what is up to you? What is going on? Evening. And okay, number one Marvel fan. That's even for me. That's a little way much. Mr. Easy Go Lucky, good to see you, sir. Of course, as always. Plans with the family. Have a great show. Please hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in to let me know, as always. You don't have to do that, by the way, but I do appreciate that you take the time to do that so much. So, yeah, thank you, and have a great time with the family, whatever it is that you're going to do. And, yeah, hopefully check you out next week. And to my lovely wife, thank you for the support, as always. Vivian, always in the chat. Good to see you. And always a nice day for Jeff wedding. So what? Out to dinner and circle back on the big. Okay, are you still with Ian? Are you guys together? Because I mean, I've been seeing some pictures from the Las Vegas con. So, but yeah, have a good dinner. Have a good dinner, and hopefully see you guys a bit later, maybe. And good day to you as well, David. Good to see you all the way in Australia. So at least we got somebody in Australia. So we got somebody really, really far in Australia watching, as well as really, really far from in the studio with me. So that's really cool. Good to see that. Hey, Marcus, what is up? Thumbs up to you. And if everybody can hit the thumbs up, that would be lovely as well. Thank you very much, sir. There we go. The first Singaporean to come in. Mark Fong, what is up? Good morning to you, my friend. Good morning. Thank you for being here, especially on such an early morning for you. And Super Ruben, it is, Rich. What's up, Richie? Good to see you, man. And you know what, Rich? You usually come in later. So I'm kind of like excited to see you here so early. I don't know if that means you're going to be taking off early, but I'm glad to see you here early. That is really, really cool. Yes, Rick, the Man of Steel it is. Yeah, I'm a fan, you know. Jason, what is up in Lansing? Good evening to you as well. Good to see you as always, of course. And yes, I'm aware, you know, once you've gone to one, the other one's not far away at that point, you know. For me, either one is far, but like I say, once I get to one of them, yeah, the other one's nearby. So, but yes, I'm aware. Thank you for clarifying what I already knew, but I appreciate it. And boy, you're really pushing it tonight, number one Marvel fan. Boy, oh boy, everyone loves Dick. Well, they should. He's a handsome young fella, right? A happy-go-lucky kind of guy. So they should, and I'm glad. I hope people keep tuning in to check it out. I'm very, very, very interested in some of the views and things that Dick's got to say tonight. So I've been looking really forward to this. And John, all right, John. So you weren't here a few minutes ago, John. Just tell me, how far off am I if I say your name as John Nguyen? Tell me how close or far I am. I'm trying to say it the way that a local Vietnamese person would say it. Let's say in Vietnam. And I do believe it would be something like Nguyen. Let me know. Here in Canada, we've always had to say that name. Like nobody wants to, be bothered to try to pronounce it the way a Vietnamese person would say it. But so when we anglicize it, it's always been Nguyen here, But I know that's probably further off than the way I just said it. So let me know. And Marcus, what are you saying? Is collected power ring? I got some power rings. Yeah, they're the same ones though. They're not new. One day you may see a new one, but it's not new. It's just always sitting in my drawer here. But it's black, and black on white skin. It just stands out to me. It just doesn't look that great. It's a Punisher ring, actually. So the ring itself looks really cool, but not when you're wearing it. Not as much when you're wearing it. Yeah. Truly international show. Absolutely, absolutely, David. And that's what I love. I've said it before. Like the hobby is a truly international one, right? So it's cool. It's great that I finally have my first international collector here sharing the studio with me, which is a lot of fun. So absolutely. Let me see. Golden slumbers, fill your eyes. We're not going to sing now, are we? What is up to you? Good to see you, Murdoch. Good to see you. Are you stateside? Where are you now, Murdoch? Let me know. And the van lifer, heart. I hope you're tuning in, at least for some time. Hart, always good to see you and good to see your commentary. You're one of the more interesting interactors, if we shall say, or at least on the humor side. So, so you're home for a change and doing some painting while you watch. Oh, excellent. Have fun with the painting and doing double duty at the same time. That's awesome. White bands for the win. Oh, Kavi, what is up, sir? Wow. Hey, Kavi, I gave you 3 likes on your video tonight. I gave you 3 likes on your video game playing video. I don't know what you call them. Video game playing. Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You were there doing it. 3 likes, my friend. 3 likes. Good to see you, dude. And who else? Anybody else new? Flying back from WickedCon last Sunday. Okay. That's Rich. Here we go, Rich. All right. Yeah, what else? Oh, West wants to see Dick. Of course you want to see Dick. Good to see you, West. Good to see you, as always. CJ just painting also, my friend. Oh, nice. Look at you guys. I got really true artists here, painting away as they listen and watch the show. That's awesome. Love it. What's that? 7 coworkers, the last name, Nguyen. I hope that's the... Yeah, and John hasn't tuned in yet to tell me. Has he told me yet? The last name, I'm pretty sure they were all screwing with me because they all pronounced it differently. It's possible. I would think so. But it's also possible that if they come from different parts of the United States, that they also pronounce it slightly differently too, So, you're back in Virginia. Okay, well, welcome back, my friend. Welcome back. And David Matheny, good to see you, sir. Happy Sunday to you as well. And Tariq in Southern Cali. What is up, Tariq? Good to see you, man. So cool. Yeah, good. Just chilling. Oh, sorry to hear that. You're sick before the rainstorm hit. Yeah. It's pouring rain here too. And cold. And it looks like it's not going to be a very warm spring and summer. I don't know. It's not, the signs aren't there for us anyways. What is up, Caesar? Hey, what's up, dude? Good to see you as well as also. And, like a win. Okay. So to me, that means I was pretty close. Like, just tell me yes or no. Was I pretty close? John Nguyen. Right? John Nguyen. That's how I say it. So let me know. Like a win-win win-win situation. Yeah, man. I think I'm right. Okay, I'm going to take that as a win. Sorry, I should say I'm going to take that as a win. There we go. Awesome, man. Yes, international guest. Exciting. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Okay, everyone. So let me quickly bring in my kick-ass, because I can't believe saying hi to everybody took 10 minutes. Sorry about that, Dick. Oh, my God. Let us bring Dick into the stream right away now. What's up? Sorry, dude, for leaving you out there so long. I thought it was like about 5 minutes. I wasn't paying attention to the clock.
Hey, no worries, man.
Good, man. Good. Good to see you. And first of all, I got to say, not only thank you for reaching out. That was really cool of you. People don't normally reach out to me. I'm always the one reaching out to everyone else. And I thank you for being willing to do this with me, especially given the fact that for you, it's a day off and very early in the morning. Give me a second. I'm being told by my control room, yes, that you are a bit low. Is there anything you can do to get a bit closer, maybe to the mic, Dick? Or
The what's low? The volume or
yeah, us. My wife just told me that that she couldn't barely, pretty much not hear you. But I don't think there's anything I could do. I think if I raised your volume, I think that would only sort of make me maybe hear it better, you know? Let me see. Edit.
test.
Okay. Okay, hold on. And actually, my wife just popped in again to say that I think it's okay. Do me another test, please.
Test.
Okay, excellent. And now I got West. Now I got West telling me that he's not low. I'm loud. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me try to keep my mic kind of away from me. Okay. How's this, everyone? Can you tell me how is this, Dick? Do I sound too loud or okay?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, excellent. All right, Jason, you can hear okay? Excellent. Thank you so much. Excellent. Maki Poo, good to see you, sir. Thank you for dropping in, my friend. And here's John's back. The man, the legend, Dickie, played an influential role when I got started in OA. And may I also just say, because he's not here right now, but James Siegel also popped into the chat on Nikki B's show on Friday, so early Saturday morning for you, Dick. And he said the same thing. He said he was looking forward to it. He always comes in kind of late, and he said that you were also very instrumental in he didn't specify how, but he said that you were instrumental in when he got started as well. So you're getting praise. Let's just say that it's good.
Thanks,
it's a good positive. So that's good. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, thank you. We need word balloon. Sounds good. Okay. All right, guys. So Dick, yeah, man, like I said, thank you so much, because like I as I was saying, even though you reached out to me, you know, to be honest, for a long time I thought of you, and I thought, oh, you know, and I think I mentioned this in one of our emails between each other. I thought of you a while back, a few months back, and I thought, oh, you know, maybe I should ask Dick if he'd be interested. But immediately what came up to me was the thought that, well, it's just so difficult because it'll be Monday for him, right? And I would probably have to wait until maybe he had a day off somehow, a holiday or whatever. And so I thought, okay, never mind. I guess I you know, and so I kind of said, okay, maybe in the future. And then I came up with that idea of maybe doing a round table with, you know, I wanted to do more round tables anyways. And I wanted to really try to do some where all the guests in the studio are from the same country, you know? And I don't mean their background, but specifically people living in countries outside of the United States, you know? And I thought of that, but then I also thought, yeah, but again, that would mean at least 3 guys, 2 outs, you know, you and 2 others would also have to be in the same situation, waiting for like a day off, a holiday of some kind in Singapore in order for us to do that, you know? So then when you reached out, I was like, okay, fantastic. This is good. And then realized, oh, there's a holiday coming up. Okay. It worked out fantastic. So thank you so much, man. And especially because it's so early for you on your day off.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll try to do a round table in the future. Actually, some of the other local guys are interested. It's just that a bit hard to sync up right now.
Yeah. I mean, whatever, you know, like the offer's certainly there. You know that now. If something like that we could ever do it, man, I would love to do it. So you know that. You know, if you ever think there's a way to get it done, you know, reach out to me and we'll do it. You know, that should be fun. So. So Marcus is asking, and I don't know what he means by this. It must be some inside joke. Do you still do cold calls? Do you know what he's talking about?
I think when I appeared on Bill's show, I said I started off by just calf stalking people whose art I like, but then making cold offers and just asking whether they would like to sell. And
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember you saying that, right? Because I watched that show too. But he threw me off with the cold calling. When I hear cold calling, I'm thinking you're working in some kind of place where you're, cold calling people to sell them stuff or whatever, So that's why. So you're getting a nice, lovely welcome from a hardcore collector, Vivian Chu, my wife, wants to say welcome to you.
Hello, Vivian. Thank you.
And I got a comment already coming in from Kavi. 2 artists I collect, Zhu Orzu and Rakta Lin are. Oh, I did not know that they are from Singapore. That's interesting. Well, obviously, Dick, you knew that, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they were born here, but I know they're based.
They're based in Singapore
right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. And by the way, guys, anybody who wants to confirm, is it Rakta? I don't know how else you would say that. Rakta? Rakta? Anybody know?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Okay. Hey, Stevie B, good to see you, man. Dropping in to get out of the monsoon-like conditions. So it's raining all over North America, apparently, with some dry humor inside. Nice one. You already started it off. I like that. I love it. All right. So, you know how these things always work, Dick. One of the main reasons I wanted to do shows with guests, collectors coming into the studio from other countries, because I'm always, look, I'm outside the country, and most of this hobby takes place in the United States, right? So even me, I'm international, even though I'm probably, well, not probably, I am closer to the United States than anybody from any other country, unless you're in really northern Mexico, then we're equal, But so I'm always fascinated about, how people in other countries discovered comics, how easy or difficult it might have been collecting once you discovered them. What were the challenges, or were there any challenges compared to where I live in North America and compared to Americans, I guess. So maybe if you could sort of tell me a little bit about, tell all of us a little bit about how you kind of got started, and were there challenges, and did they were they insurmountable, or just about anything about your kind of coming into the hobby, basically.
Yeah, sure. So like almost everyone else, I started off, reading comic books as a young kid, because Singapore is it's in Southeast Asia, but we were a British colony like the Americans.
Yeah.
But about 60 years, 70 years ago now. So English is the primary language here, and and of course we're exposed to a lot of Western culture. So comic books, I started reading it, same time as everyone else, around 6, 7 years old.
Okay.
There were quite a few comic shops at that time.
Oh, so you okay? Wow. I was gonna ask you, did you have pretty good access to comics? And you're saying you already had several, not only access, but you had them accessible by actual comic book shops. Wow, that's impressive. Wow. So, because I'll tell you, I bet you if you were to ask people, right, in the United States, let's say, what would you guess was, life in Singapore comics wise, back at, let's say 30, 35 years ago? I think most people would probably have thought, probably you probably didn't have any comic shops, or maybe the whole country had one, or I think that's what I would have thought back then, But so you're telling us you had multiple comic shops?
So I mean, it's a tiny country. Like the population now is about 6 million people. It's a little island. But I think following like the late 80s boom, Batman and the indie boom and such in the US, quite a lot of comic shops opened up in Singapore, like dedicated, LCSs.
Yeah.
So that's where I got my start. Some of my friends and cousins collected.
Okay.
So for the first,
like older in terms of cousins, did you have older cousins or like same age type cousins?
Yeah, slightly older. Yeah, so I was
Okay.
introduced to comic shops through them,
Okay.
and my main reading period, I guess, would be like mid-90s,
Okay.
which used to be quite derided in this hobby. You know, especially when I first started out, like I guess a decade or so ago. But those were the good old days, actually, looking back, because it was very affordable. Not so
Yeah.
anymore. But yeah, so I read comics for about 10 to 15 years until my early adulthood, and then went off to college, started work, etc. And during even
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on, Dick. I can hear you. I can.
sorry,
Okay, yeah, you froze there for a moment. I don't know if everybody else experienced the same thing, but
yeah, no, yeah, because apologies, I'm in a new rental property now
oh,
because my other house is being rebuilt. So yeah, the
oh,
connection is great, but
oh,
I'll
okay.
try to move about if it freezes again.
Let's hope it if it happens a few times here and there, it's not so bad. Let's hope it just doesn't go down on us completely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So but even during my collecting days, from like my young childhood to early adulthood, I always knew that OA existed to a certain extent.
Really?
There was
At what age? At what age do you remember sort of being aware of it for the first time?
I would say, hold on.
Sorry, everyone. For those of you watching on Rewind, of course, so we apologize, but Dick is currently not in his usual place, and of course, is having slight issues with the connection. But we hope to get it settled ASAP.
Okay, Ruben, I'm back. I tried shutting down other apps and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Okay. Let's hope
and
it
move
goes
the
better.
position a bit. Yeah. So yeah, so actually, I was collecting, let's say, from about 8 years old to 18, let's say.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, and during the time, Wizard magazine was a big thing, and it was a great read, very entertaining. I mean,
Right.
and through that, I got to know about OA in a few mentions of it here.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And even before that, I had an inkling, without reading the comic books, that OA existed, but there's no way to access it. All right, before the internet, before the early 2000s.
Right.
I believe even in the US, I believe even in the US, it was quite confined to the Northeast before the advent of the internet. So it really wasn't, a feasible thing to collect. So I just stuck to comic books. And then, as we discussed earlier, a lot of it is also income dependent. It's never been a cheap hobby. So
Yeah.
you need to be working for a while to have some resources. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would say about 10 years ago, I started dabbling in comic art, with accessibility and some spare cash lying about. And yeah, that's where I got my start.
Okay. I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but I just want to. I am curious actually because Marcus says, it usually people will ask, "Oh, did you have comic shops?" And I think a lot of us are probably surprised that you did have multiple comic shops. So he's asking, did you have newsstands? Which is what most people had when they didn't have comic shops, But did they also have newsstands as well?
Yeah, so it was quite bustling, like comic book collecting in the early 90s, even in Singapore, was a really cool and widespread hobby. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Like a lot of non-comic book readers and non-geeks were getting into it. Yeah. So there were quite a lot of newsstands. Yeah.
Interesting. So would you say, like, are we saying that it was kind of popular to the point where when anybody that would have been, let's say, high school age in Singapore, would they have been very open about the fact that they started reading and collecting comics, or was it still kind of you only told the friends who you knew were also into it? You know,
No,
in other words, was it any kind of shame attached to it?
no. So let's say this was mid 90s to late 90s.
Yeah.
It was an in thing. Like people were collecting comic books, the trading cards, Magic the Gathering, everywhere. It was all throughout the primary schools, or what would they call primary schools in the US? Grade schools, something like that.
Great. What age are we talking about?
So primary school will be like from 6 to 12.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, okay. I mean, I guess it's different in a lot of countries. I know for me, we call elementary school is kindergarten when you're 5, and then you have also grade 1 to 6, and that's at least where we live, and that's it. And then you have to change to another building for grade 7, which is referred to as now you're in junior high, and grade 8, and then 4 more years for high school. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say from the early 90s to the late 90s in the grade schools and high schools, comic books, trading cards, Magic the Gathering, they were really hot. Yeah.
Interesting. Look at speaking of interesting, guys. Check this out for those of you who have not noticed Mark's Mark Fong is a regular member of our live chat crew here, and he is also in Singapore. He's saying that Singapore had about a half a dozen comic shops in the mid 80s. Wow, in the mid 80s? In the mid 80s, you already had half a dozen comic shops. That's crazy to me. And your mates and you and your mates organized the first 3 Comic Cons? Wow. And your guests included Mike Grell and a young Todd McFarlane. What? Okay, Mark, are you telling me that you and your friends organized the first few Comic Cons in Singapore, and that from all the way in Singapore in the mid 80s, you somehow reached out and reached these 2 artists and asked them to fly them into Singapore, and they said yeah, and you brought them in and you had them as guests at your cons? What? In the mid 80s? What? Oh my God. That's already way better than the Montreal cons that we had here in the mid 80s. That's in Singapore. Wow. That's insane to me. Okay. That's wow. Does that surprise you? By the way, you're there you go.
No. Yeah. So I was a bit young for those cons. But yeah, I knew that McFarlane and Co had come in the 80s. So I think one reason this could be achieved is because Singapore has always been quite an affluent society. There's always been enough local collector interest in comic books and now OA to support such endeavors and make it worth the while of artists and dealers to visit this part of the world. Yeah.
Okay. Out of curiosity, Mark's saying that Singapore had newsstands with import from US and UK with pens. The pens prices. I get it. Okay. I'm curious because I think a lot of us. Well, okay, I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody, but for myself, I'm aware. I've always been aware that that Singapore has had a certain affluence, but what I'm not aware of is roughly, like in terms of on percentage terms, like do you know like how much of the country would be considered affluent versus the rest?
No, I mean, off the top of my head, no. But
Okay.
I mean, there's always a an income gap, and
Yeah.
the top few
Like,
earners will always be just a small percentage of the
right.
population. But
Like
overall,
a lot.
because of,
Yeah, as
but
with a
because of
lot of
education standards and good government policy, everybody has relatively high level education and high quality public housing. So
okay.
everyone's pretty
Yeah.
well off in the greater scheme of things. Most people
Okay.
are.
Okay. Hart is asking, were there a wide variety of series at the Singapore Con? In other words, I guess selection of titles. I would assume if they
Yeah.
right, if they afforded to be open as an LCS, a full-blown LCS, I would imagine there was not problem getting the comics, all the comics that they needed, right?
Yeah, all of the mainstream and even the black and whites and the indies and
Oh,
etc.
wow.
were available in the 80s to 90s in the comic shops.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Stevie B is saying that I sent my wife up to the roof to hold up a metal rod, but Dick's signal is not getting better. May start Cinco de Mayo early and take a taco dinner break. All right. Catch you later, Stevie B. Sorry, man. What can we do? We're trying, but there's nothing else we can really do about it. Mike, NSN Art, good evening, sir. Mike is going to be my guest next week, everybody, and that should be a lot of fun as well. He says he went to a comic shop in Singapore. Wow, you were in Singapore in 91. Wow. It was comparable to any store in the US. Wow. That's really impressive, man. That's I mean, what you're saying, Mike, is really, it's jiving 100% with what Dick's been telling us, right? I mean, it's full blown. That's what he makes it sound like it's just like anything else in the United States at the time. So it's really very impressive, honestly. I guess it's impressive because I guess I don't know. I guess it's the distance. Like I said, I always knew that there was a certain affluence in the country, but I guess there's always that thought in your mind where when you're so far, like countries that are so far from the United States, just the geographical distance by itself, I always feel like, oh, the further you are, the harder it's going to be to get comics. And this is also, of course, based on actual stories of people over the years who have told me, oh, I live in Europe. And in Europe, in Spain, Portugal, France, or England, okay, well, not in Europe, but obviously the UK. We had a really tough time. We were lucky. You would go to the newsstand. There were no comic shops, and if you bought one comic on the newsstand, you were really lucky if the next time you went to the newsstand, they had the next issue of that same comic, And so I hear that from countries that are only, say, 5 or 6 hours away by plane from the United States. And so, of course, I'm going to think, well, all the Asian countries are much further away than Europe, so they must have even worse distribution there, So I think a lot of us think that way, But clearly we've been wrong all these years, Dick.
I mean, it depends on country to country. Yeah. I would say, but Singapore is one of the more advanced Asian countries.
Yeah. Apparently, so. Yeah. Mark says that it was a pure grassroots affair. Yeah, but wow, that's an incredible success that you guys could pull that off all the way in Singapore in the mid 80s. Wow. And Tariq says Singapore has always been a distinguished place. Very nice, man. Yeah, I mean, wow. Yeah, it's still surprising. That's good. Is it cool? John's back and says Singapore also has 20% of epic cosmic art courtesy of Mickey. Is that true, Dick? Is that true?
I wish.
I'm sure you do. I mean, wish. Makipupu, you love Singapore. Oh, so you went with the family? We last visited right before the pandemic. Wow. Okay. Well, that's nice. Excellent. Good to hear that. And Hart is calling you Dickie the Cosmic Hoarder. You are a hoarder. Oh, people are thinking you're hoarding a lot. They think you got a lot more than you that you admit to, you know? Nah, okay. Well, we'll take your word
No,
for
not really.
it. We have no choice, Dick. We'll take your word for it right now,
No,
right?
a lot of it will be shared tonight. So
Well, Rick wants to know. Well, Rick, the thing is that Dick's only 40, so he wouldn't have really known this. But actually, I guess Mark obviously can answer this question for sure. Was John Sable popular in Singapore in the mid '80s when it was really popular here stateside? Let us know, Mark. And Maki Pupu says that the food is the best. in Singapore.
yes, yes, the variety of the cuisine is unparalleled.
Variety. Oh, that's cool. Hey, Dino.
Because it's a very multicultural nation.
Uh-huh.
So we have predominantly Chinese, but we have many Malays, Indians, Eurasians, and
Yes.
community as well for work. So there's
Right.
unlimited food
So
options.
the thing, yeah, sure, I'm sure. Well, but you know, I think a few of the Asian countries, I think it's fair enough to say that you could get quite a lot of food option as well. Like it's you know, yeah. So yeah, thank you, Dino. Yes, okay. So the per capita income is very high. Okay, good to know. I like I said, I knew that there was affluence there. I just never really knew to what degree and you know how widespread it is or what have you. You know, so that's it. Number one Marvel fan says after watching the movie Crazy Rich Asians, I want to go there. Looks amazing over there. And that's it. I know you're laughing. Tell us why you're laughing, Dick. Tell us why you're laughing.
I mean, some people live like that, no doubt, but very few. If I live like that, I would be able to hoard 20% of the cosmic art. Yeah, I guess I don't. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's more of an example of the most affluent of the affluent, right? Yeah.
Actually, the really affluent old money ones don't live like that. It's mainly the nouveau riche and those who have more to.
So the old money is the ones who don't flaunt it.
No.
Is that's basically it? They just keep it to themselves and just they don't want to draw attention to themselves. Is that right?
Yeah, because you know, if you know, if not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't need to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah. I get you. That makes all the sense in the world. Marcus says, "What about just Asian only comics? Only old Master Q, Jade Warrior, Philippine comics. What about that stuff? Do you guys have?
Yeah, so like I think like Old Master Q is like Lao Fu Zi and Jade Man comics that used to do like Street Fighter. And, so they were available at the newsstands. Yeah.
The Jade Man stuff, the Crying Freeman, that was the stuff that was Chinese produced, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
So those kinds were available on the newsstands, and manga wasn't so widely available.
Oh, okay.
Now in the bookshops, you know, in the big chain bookshops and the TPB section, it's mainly manga and stuff like that. There's a lot of manga. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the LCSs were focused on Western and mainly American comic books back in the 90s. Yeah.
Okay, so you would say it's fair to say that the American comic books in Singapore are the ones that dominate the hobby?
In the 80s, 90s, yes. Now, I would say it's more big chain bookshops with manga sections and. I mean, most younger people read manga and stuff online anyway. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So now I would say in Singapore, the American comic book market is much smaller, and the readership of like manga and stuff is much larger amongst the younger generation.
Okay.
But because of like the movies and video games of Marvel and DC and such, there's very high awareness of those characters still, but not through the comic books.
Right. But if we were to just if we don't focus on the chain bookstores and we're just specifically talking about comic book LCSs, right? In the LCSs, what are the most commonly purchased type of comics? Would it be the American stuff? The superheroes?
Yes. So if it's an LCS here, it will still just be American stuff mainly. But there are far fewer LCSs here, just like in America as well now.
Okay.
I would say there's like maybe 3. Yeah.
Okay.
There used to be like a dozen or so in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Now we have Mark chiming in to say, answering Marcus's question. In addition to LCS, we have shops specializing in comics from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and manga. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. That's that they actually specialize in that stuff. That's really cool. That's really cool. Wow. And your local con was possible with the help of Mile High Comics, who hooked us up with the artists and gave us freebies for prizes. Wow. So Chuck Rosansky helped you guys to get going with that, huh? That's really interesting to know. Wow. Oh, good for you guys and good for him. Wow. I had no idea that Chuck had ever had anything to do with that. Wow. That's fantastic to hear, though, Makipupu is congratulating you on turning the big 4-0, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was earlier this year. I still feel 14, 1-4. So.
Yeah, Marcus, no poutine in Singapore. I'm. You never know.
There is. No, there is. Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
See? That's why I said you never know. Oh my gosh, you have poutine. Wow. Wow.
There's some like fast food, gourmet fast food stalls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Marcus.
Singapore is the best for food, no doubt. Come to Singapore and eat anything you want. Yeah.
Anything. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you see, I guess we really underestimated Singapore and the thinking they had no comics back in the old days. Definitely have no poutine. But yeah, no. Apparently, you guys have everything you need. That's fantastic. Let me see what else. Any comments? Let me see. Hold on. CJ says that some awesome foods and recipes that are fun as hell to make. Okay. I'm not sure why you're mentioning it, Makipupu, but I'll say it anyways. Ken Jeong was awesome. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but same here, though, really. Comic sections are small now in bookstores where the manga is multiple rows full. I sell more manga. Wow, I was interesting because I was going to go to you, number one Marvel fan. I was going to go because I know you've got your 4 stores, so that would give us a kind of an interesting a viewpoint as to, how things are in the United States, given that it's not just 1 store, but 4. So good to know. I wanted to know what it was in terms of sales for you as well. And that's also very interesting to hear that for you, it is more manga than even the superhero stuff. Wow. In the United States. That's wild, man. That's very interesting. And the recent years of so much bad comics coming out really has harmed current sales. Young people only want manga. Only Marvel and DC that sell well are key books and first issues, period. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Okay. Yes, Marcus. It may just be Michelin star of a 5 Michelin star poutine restaurant. That's funny. Marcus is also asking, are people loving that Spider Boy? I don't know what he's talking about. Do you know what he's talking about?
I think it's a new Spider variant character. I think.
Like, is Marcus? Is it that there's some kind of a new Singaporean-based spider character or that I haven't heard of? I mean, there's like 40 different Spider-Mans now. I don't know how anybody keeps track of them, But okay. Sorry, pal, but neither of us really know what you're referring to exactly. Mikhail has just stepped in. Oh, before I go to Mikhail, number one Marvel fan says, I hate all the FOMO on Spider Boy. Okay, so it is something. It is actually something serious, and there's fear of missing out on Spider Boy. Well, clearly, Dick and I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I guess it's some kind of new Spider character that people are speculating on. I don't. Yeah. And it looks, by the looks of it, that neither Dick or I care about that.
I don't judge. He may be cool, but it's not.
Yeah. Good evening to you, Mikhail. Mikhail says hello to Dick. Love Singapore. Spent a lot of time there in the 90s, early 90s. Yeah, good. That's great. Oh, late 80s and in the 90s. Awesome. Good to hear that. Jeff, you're back. I have yet to see Spider Boy. With the app, I see new issues with a 3-month delay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's not something I really wanted. Do we really need a 40th or 41st Spider-Man character? That's my issue. It could be good. Anything that's created could be good, but is it most likely to be good when you're doing it for the 40th time? I mean, come on. I think that's part of the problem with why superhero comics are really at their lowest sort of, not very, they're just treading water, and they never have sort of recovered from the 90s crash. Just the prices are too high. The ideas are not great. I don't know. That's my view on it. But here's a guy with 4 stores saying that the dumb Dan Slott book. Okay, man, you're gonna have to rewrite your English grammar there, because that makes no sense at all. The dumb damn Dan Slott book. Put now. Okay, yeah, I don't know what you mean by there. So Marcus, yeah, thank you for confirming. It's a new character. Okay, and Mark in Singapore says, in terms of stories, manga has better and original writing. DC and Marvel seem to be rehashing old plot lines with variant covers. Yeah, well, that's sort of always been the case for decades now with Marvel DC,
Yeah, I also felt for decades that Marvel, DC, etc. should just stop their monthly production and focus on like self-contained stories or
I'm curious. I'm curious, Dick. Though.
Kind of stuff. Yeah, maybe the characters.
I'm curious. Oh, do you read manga yourself? By the way, I'm just curious.
Manga, no, but I mean I watch some anime.
You watch anime? Okay.
Yeah, in terms of Marvel and DC stuff, I feel they should just stop all of their monthly stuff and do graphic novels or small limited series or whatever when there is a reason to do so. With good creative teams, good stories, etc. And with the same existing characters, which is fine. It's just that dragging out ongoing series for 60 years is just too much, I think. You will run out of ideas that they have done for quite a while, I think.
Yeah. Okay, let us, this is a perfect segue. All these guys are making jokes about waiting for Darth Spider. I'm holding out for Spider Grandpa. Yes.
There's about universe now. They all exist already.
Yeah.
Somewhere, yes.
That's it. CJ's waiting for his Spider toddler. Yeah, exactly. They're making the point for me. That's my point, right? It's like you're taking something that used to be very special in Spider-Man, and okay, you made a Spider Woman, but that makes sense because of like trademark and copyright issues. Because if you don't do Spider Woman, another company publisher can do it, and you don't want the competing publisher to have another Spider sounding character, So I get that, but those two is fine. After that, now we have like 30 or 40, who knows how many. It's like Dirty Spider. Like all these guys are coming out with the jokes now. Spider toddler versus the green diaper would be epic. And where's MILF MJ? I'm sure they're probably working on that now. I mean, Mark says Marvel hasn't been the house of ideas for decades. Yeah, no kidding, Mark. I always call them the house of no ideas, or the house of bad ideas. Yeah, so no kidding. Marcus says, I guess Nikki B bought the hype. Oh boy, Heart with the horny toad spider. Maybe that would, I'd like to see that horny toad spider, but only if the horny meant what you wanted to mean, Heart. But then it's like the Marvel, the different label. It's the XXX label, you know. Yeah, you're calling me what? The deal slash.
Anyway, so.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what? Why don't we, guys? Let's take a look at some art. If that's cool with you, Dick, you want to look at a few pieces?
Yeah, sure.
Tell us a little bit about some pieces. Before I go to that, I'll take one last comment from number one Marvel fan. Yes, the book is a good seller right now, just like they all are short term. Yeah, but it's just another hype book to cash in on now and no long term appeal. Yeah, it's more about the speculation thing or whatever. I get it. Yeah, it's, the same story over and over for, like you said, like somebody said, right, decades. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is, and that's why a lot of us don't really collect new books anymore. So, okay, guys, let's take a look at a few pieces of art from Dick's collection. And Dick actually asked me, and nobody has ever asked me to do this before up until Dick did. Dick actually gave them to me in a specific order, and I haven't, as of yet, asked Dick what reason there is. So hopefully as we go, he might tell us why he's showing them in a specific order. Sound good, Dick?
Oh yeah, sure. No, mainly because it's an easier way to sort of showcase and display what I'm interested in, so that our audience and fellow collectors can get a bit of background on what my tastes are.
Okay, great. All right, so let's take a look at the first one, and why don't you tell me a little bit about this one? Tell everybody about this. This is obviously from a very key issue. Here we go.
Okay, yeah. So I'm a big Thanos and Marvel Cosmic fan. So I thought this would be the best place to start. As the birthplace of Thanos.
Yeah.
And so this page, is I think I told this story before, but I've been trying to assemble a 3-page sequence from the book, and I managed to contact the other 2 collectors who own the first 2 pages of Thanos' appearances. But they are not letting go, obviously. So basically, this page I think it's the 3rd Thanos page, and it's the first time that you see his face in the top right corner there, and it's also like the origin of Drax in the bottom 3 panels. And
is that
panels, yeah. So the panels are Drax.
At the bottom, it's Thanos.
No, the bottom 3 panels are Drax. The Drax origin story.
Drax is the one coming out of the ground. Okay.
Yeah. Drax.
Okay.
And then the middle 2 panels are for the cosmic nerds like myself. Is the disembodied head is Kronos, which is like the entity of time, and somehow he's Thanos' grandfather. And then Thanos' dad is the one in the purple face. So it's just a nerdy cosmic page, which I'm very fortunate to have managed to snag a few years back, or actually many years back. Talking about it,
would you say that it was one of your earlier pages?
No, I think it was around 2016, 2015.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so midway through collecting.
But didn't you say that you only started collecting about 10 years ago with the artwork?
Yeah, so I started OA collecting in 2011, 2012, somewhere.
Yeah, okay. So this piece maybe came about 3 years or so after you started collecting?
I think about 4 or 5 years. I needed to build up to it. I mean, even then it wasn't cheap.
I know.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people loving it. A lot of the guys in the live chat crew loving it, which of course I expected. Who doesn't like this stuff? Anybody who's into the Marvel cosmic stuff, and was a fan of Thanos and that whole thing. I mean, getting any page you can acquire from the first appearance is quite a coup and a gem to have. So yeah, and look at that Drax birth scene. So yeah, is that actually the birth scene? He never appeared.
Drax appears before in several pages before this. But
he does. Okay.
The 3-page, the 3-panel sequence at the bottom is his origin story.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, but still, that's still cool. Maybe not the birth of Drax, but certainly cool because it's the origin of Drax, right? So
yeah, it's origin of Drax, but it is the so-called birth of Thanos' face, if that's what you want to call it, because his face never appears in the previous 2 pages where he's shown. Mainly in shadow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the shadows. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Well, everybody who has the pages from this one and the ones before, you guys can all argue amongst yourselves as to which technically qualifies as the first Thanos.
There's a birth of his hand and the birth of his foot. Yeah. That's what the previous pages are actually. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very cool. And Marcus says that the colors are cool on this. Really? But don't forget, it's very bright. I find them very bright, but I think that's also because, of course, this is a scan taken from the digital version, right? So this is not on the newsprint paper. This is on that glossy white type paper equivalent. So, yeah. But I still like it in black and white much better. That's I always do, I think. Or at least 99.9% of the time,
Actually, it's my most 3D-ish page, so-called, because like all the little speckles of the stars and all that, especially in the middle panel and the bottom panels, they're very pronounced blobs of paint. Actually, it's not like flat. So
yes. It's like when a painter leaves impasto on his painting. So it's you can feel the texture with your when you rub it lightly, right?
No, you can see it poking out, like when it sits in the mylar and I pull it out of the mylar, I can see the little dots staining the mylar on the inside when I pull it out. There's so much white paint on.
Yeah, because he applied it. Esposito applied it very thick, right?
Yeah, really thick. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark says that it would be awesome in blacklight. This is your origin year. Nice. Yeah, very, very, very cool. Somewhere, well, honestly, number one Marvel fan. Somewhere, a lot of collectors are drooling. Right? Let's be honest. This type of stuff, as we all know, it has a widespread appeal in the market. It doesn't have just a small, what do you call it? Like a cult. Yeah, a small cult-like following. No. This stuff is what we call super mainstream, wide appeal now at this point, So, yeah, fabulous. This is a great page. Congrats to you on landing that one. Dick, I'm curious. Ever since you grabbed that one, and now that it's been so many years, have you attempted to try to track down any more pages, or not, like at least another page from that issue, or have you wanted to get another one from that issue, or are you you're happy just having the one and that's it?
Yeah, no, I've contacted the owners of the previous 2 pages with Thanos. So mine is the third Thanos page. I've spoken quite a bit with the owners of the other 2 previous Thanos pages as well.
Okay.
But everybody is just like, if you want to sell, let me know. If you want to sell, let me know. And no one's letting anything go.
It's understandable.
I was quite close to getting a previous Thanos page many years ago, when the stuff wasn't so incredibly valuable yet.
Right.
But the current owner made a good choice to hang on to it.
Yeah, I would say so. Much to your chagrin and expense, of course, Yeah. Okay, excellent. Yes, Hart is confirming what I was saying, that the wide appeal with really wide-ranging prices. Yeah, I mean, it depends obviously what it's from, but anything Thanos, as we all know, yeah, I mean, even from modern era stuff, it's always got wide, strong demand, and yeah, so absolutely. So the older you go on this stuff, yeah, the harder it is to acquire and the more expensive, absolutely. Because yeah, just so much strong, wide ranging appeal for sure. So okay, let's take a look at the next piece, everyone. We'll go from that over to what I still see this as the modern era. I'm sure for Dick, for him, it's kind of old because of his age, but yeah, to me, this is still the modern era. But yeah, this is what I think this is what the most of the collectors who are big time Thanos guys these days and fans, whether it's just in the artwork or whether just as, reading comic book fans, I think this is the stuff that is probably the most sought after and popular. And that would be the Infinity Gauntlet. And this is a spectacular example, Dick. Oh my God. Like, love this. This page was always burned into my memory. A few of them are from having read it, from the day I read it. But I remember turning to this page and like, yeah, I was just like, yeah. It's just, he looks so cool there with the gauntlet, and oh man, yeah, this just a killer page. And I believe you also have had this for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. Correct or incorrect?
Yeah, quite a few years. I think this was the first page that I actually went all out on. So just a bit of background. Like when I first started in 2011, 2012, there were no Infinity Gauntlet pages or Silver Surfer, Rondim, or 90 stuff, like very little 90 stuff, available, because I think the pricing wasn't there, so there was no push factor for the owners to sell them. So actually, the increasing prices have helped in terms of making the good stuff available.
Yes, of course.
Whereas previously, there was just none. Like from 2011 to 2013 or 14. Yeah, really nothing. Like you can go to the heritage auctions and see there's maybe one Infinity Gauntlet page and nothing on eBay, and that was it.
Exactly.
So that's why I had to do the cold calling in the early days, because I had to just go to galleries and ask people whether they'd be open to selling some stuff.
No, nothing wrong with that. If you don't ask, you'll never know, right? And you don't want to live not knowing. That's the worst part, right?
Oh yeah. So this page though was an eBay purchase. I think just around before he was announced, or somewhere there in the Marvel universe. So yeah, it's the only page where I actually spent a whole week just planning around the auction closing time and continually making funds available to up my max limit. And luckily it worked out, because I actually received some correspondence from other really big time collectors after the auction, and a few years later who said they were also interested, but for some reason they didn't bid. Thank goodness. So I think this is still my biggest win at an auction. I would consider it. Okay. Because if it had gone via a private deal or whatever, I would have had no shot. And during that time, I managed to put together the sequence. I think, like the previous page to this, I got it as well.
Oh, you got that one as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's nice. Oh, a nice lead-in page to the splash. Then
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations. That's good. And was that also been a few years already since you got that one?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So I'm starting to notice a pattern that perhaps like a lot of the coolest pieces were already several years ago, which kind of indicates as time has gone on, it has been harder and harder to acquire the coolest pieces that you would like. Would that be fair to say?
I think more cool pieces have become available, but it requires more resources to do so.
But exactly, that's the thing. So they absolutely are more available. That's the nice part, right? but you have so many more competitors for that stuff. Plus, it's so much more expensive. So that makes it so much harder now. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's a good thing. The price is rising is a good thing, but a bad thing simultaneously, you know?
But that's a story I get from all collectors. It's like it always seems to be too much and always seems to be increasing. So, but there always seem to be collectors willing to, push up the limits or support the new market norms. So either you play the game or you just pack a ball and go home. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, listen, number one Marvel fan saying, I love cosmic art. I want to start getting some or more, but never see any nice pages like this for sale. Well, you got to be looking. They hit the market, but like we were just saying, you got a lot of competitors, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of money. That's what it is. But you definitely have to always be looking at all the auction houses all the time. Number one Marvel fan, you cannot skip on auctions or not pay attention to them, because most of the stuff will appear there these days. You know, yeah. People.
But I would still say the very best stuff is still locked up in private collections.
Yes.
The market, so you still have to get to know the collectors and just, make it known that you're in the market, and
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because of course a lot of collectors began collecting, like really seriously started getting into collecting the cosmic stuff. I mean, I don't know, but a few years back, because I remember even like, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago or so. Yeah, about 6 years ago, the Ron Lim Silver Surfer stuff, you didn't see it often, even random pages from the series. You didn't see them too often for some reason. But when you did, they wouldn't sell for a ton of money. They were affordable. Like they were still in the 3-figure range. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so for a long time, like my benchmark for a Ron Lim Surfer page was like Surfer or maybe even Thanos was like $600. And then overnight, in like, I don't know, like you said, 5-6 years ago, it jumped to $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah.
For an average Surfer page, and then Thanos pages were higher than that. And the rarest thing in the hobby, my sweet spot is Ron Lim Silver Surfer Thanos pages.
Right.
And they've been really, 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 really hard to find. They've always been hard to find. Either they've been too cheap in the past, so they never appeared, or now when they appear, they're very expensive, but they're still very rare anyway. And the rarest thing in this entire hobby, rarer than any other segment or niche, is a Ron Lim Silver Surfer cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's the rarest, most elusive thing in the hobby.
I know.
Ever.
I know.
There's one that's on eBay in the last 13 years or something, and that is it.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Understand why.
Yeah, I've said that myself many times too. I think, my God, like it's so bizarre to me, especially with the hype and much larger market that has grown for this type of material over the years, the last 5-6 years, right? You would think, okay, here comes a bunch of Ron Lim Silver Surfer covers. Nope. They're still hiding wherever the heck they've been hiding all these years.
Like anything else in the hobby for $1 million or $6 million or whatever, you will never see a Ron Lim Silver Surfer cover. I don't know why. And there were a lot, like 50 of them.
I know. I don't
know where nobody knows where they are.
Yeah, just like you said, exactly. They and I remember. It's funny. I remember because I could oftentimes I can when we talk amongst ourselves, as collectors, and we talk about the things that, hey, we don't see this type of art or that type of art. Oftentimes when other collectors say that, and I'm involved in the conversation, oftentimes I'm the one saying, yeah, it's true. But I do remember back in the day when I was kind of in my first few years of collecting, let's say in the 90s, early 2000s, I remember there was quite a bit. Back then, they were around, but then they got bought and they disappeared. But for Ron Lim's Silver Surfer, I can honestly tell you, Dick, that even having been in this hobby, both as collector and as a dealer, I can tell you, since 1997, I've never seen them. I don't know. I really don't know where the heck they are hiding. I don't understand why. It's so bizarre to me to think that nobody lets them go. It's like, it's so strange, so strange. So, and it makes me wonder. I'm curious. What do you think? Because I'm sure you have some kind of ballpark idea in your head. You've probably thought of over the years. If one were to come up, here's a more specific and interesting question. If a Ron Lim Silver Surfer cover were to come up, but not Thanos related, okay, not Thanos related, what do you think ballpark it might sell for at Heritage if it was at auction?
50 at least.
Okay. And
that's just pricing it according to other in-demand 90s.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I figure you would do. Yeah.
I have no idea. It could be 100. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing. Me too. I kind of thought, oh yeah, okay, maybe an average one, maybe 15 or 20,000 or something like that, because they don't come up often. And then I'm thinking, wow, but can you imagine one of the ones with Thanos comes out? Like, what would that go for? Because, wow, they just don't come out. It would be I think the rarity factor might really come into play all of a sudden, and it might explode. And the only question in my mind is, would it still stay within the 5-figure range, or would it explode into the 6-figure range? I have no idea. I don't have really an opinion on that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, so 50 is my idea of a Ron Lim Surfer cover. If it's Thanos, I'm pretty sure it goes into 6 figures.
Wow. I guess we'll have to wait until one finally comes out on the market, right?
I wouldn't hold my breath. I've been holding it for over a decade. I'm dead. I died from, as you see, by now. It's really the rarest thing in the hobby. That's all I can say, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, man, I know. That's crazy, and that's the craziest part, is that we don't know why. Nobody seems to know where and why, right? It's crazy. Mark says that you don't just buy original art; you collect sequential pages the way Thanos collects Infinity Stones. Respect. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to put them in your folders or binders, or just side by side on the table and look at them in sequence. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Dino is bringing up something that I wanted to ask you about anyways. So he's mentioning that the Thanos Quest covers are coming up for auction. Is that something that you have interest in, or at some point had interest in, or?
No.
No?
I'm not really into the... Okay. Because they're painted, they don't look...
I have to admit, I have to admit, artistically, I was never a big fan of them. I don't think they're really that great, But
I mean, artistically, I have no issues, but in terms of what I want in a Thanos cover, yeah. But I'm actually surprised that I think Tom is selling them all so fast.
Right.
He only put them out like a year or so ago, right? Maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows, right? Sometimes people are just whatever. Interesting.
But it's good to see all the Thanos Quest stuff on the market, because when they were with Bill, they just never moved. Like they were Bill's holy grail, right? He would never let them go.
Right.
So Tom must have done something to make him let them go. Something spectacular or cosmic to make him let them go. And now they're on the market. So okay. It's nice to see, because like Thanos Quest pages really were impossible to find. Like Silver Surfer Ron Lim was hard enough. Then Thanos Quest pages were non-existent because they were all with Bill.
Mhm.
So it's really great to see them on the market, and they're going really cheap now, in my opinion. You know, they're like 6 to 8K for decent Thanos pages. It is dirt cheap in this market.
Yeah.
And given the quality of the art, the size of the page, the significance of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all relative, but yes, I mean, for a lot of people, that's a lot of money. But I know what you mean. Of course. Yeah. I think you're right. Probably. You know. Number one Marvel fan wants to make an analogy, and he's saying that it's always hard. I think you mean to part with certain things, right? Because you get bugged daily for some of your, I guess. So he collects Marvel props from movies, which he hasn't sold any ever in auctions. He just got offered 125K for my Ironmonger. Oh, a bit like many here might find it painful. Yeah. I guess at a certain point, the money talks, number one Marvel fan. And I guess you will know. We all know when the money talks, right? Because it when a real offer comes in and it's a certain price that you didn't expect, suddenly you're like, okay, wow, this is real. Wow. That's when we start thinking, okay, maybe it's time to let go some of this stuff, But yeah, we all love it. So it's always going to be hard to part with regardless, Let's see. There's a side conversation because Hart loves Cosmic, but he likes DC Cosmic, and nobody cares about DC Cosmic stuff.
Darkseid is cool. Like Darkseid was the original Thanos. I'll admit to that. Stalin ripped off Darkseid, and even he admits to that as well. So it's okay. DC Cosmic is cool.
That's funny. Yeah. But Maki Pupu. Ask Rick Whitelock for the Surfer covers. Well, listen, he did say last week that what he has in his gallery is, he said, I don't know what number he said a different number on screen, but to me privately, he has always been more consistent. And the number he uses with me is 30%. So he said, so what you see in his gallery is about 30% of the collection. So that means, wow, that's what the double, triple, whatever more from what you see in the gallery he's got. So does that mean he might have Ron Lim Surfer covers? Listen, I never asked him because I don't like to pry, but I have to say I would be surprised if he didn't have at least one, right? I mean, I would have to say so. So my guess. But like I mentioned on the show last week, I'm going to be very happy to do another show with Rick at some point down the line in the future. Another show and tell, and that when we do that one, it'll be stuff where he just pulls items from his collection that are not in his gallery. And so who knows? You never know. Maybe one of those things is a Ron Lim Silver Surfer cover, and then Dick can go attack him on Comic Guard fans, through his gallery.
No. I'm not a Surfer fan. I'm only a Thanos fan. So thank goodness I don't have to compete with Rick. That's true. But I guess I'm inferring that the possibility may be that if he has a cover, I have this feeling like he may have a great one with Thanos on it. That's what I'm trying to say, But who knows? Maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. But number one Marvel fan. I just got 3 Adam Warlock pieces in this week. But still nothing from Infinity Gauntlet. I need to step up. Yeah, man. Get to work. What are you doing? Get to work, dude. Hey, Ian. Good to see you, man. You clearly had a great time at Las Vegas Con. So good to see you. Good to see you come in here. The Resident Guardians fan has appeared. Absolutely. Loves them. Rich has a great collection. Usually the best choices of high-end comics at any con. Oh, Rick Whitelock, you mean? Yeah. Oh, that's nice. I'm sure he'd be happy to hear you say that. Cool. All right, everybody, let us go and check out another piece from this kick-ass collection, and naturally, it is going to be another kick-ass piece. Talk to us about this one, Dick, because this is about, I would call, a 60% splash.
This is pretty sweet. Nothing wrong with
Oh
this
yeah,
one.
this is great. So actually, these are the only two pages from Kev that are showing tonight. Like I tried to pull out stuff that's not on Kev as well, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
leading page I think are the only two ones. So this one has been on my Kev I think since the earliest days. Like it's basically one of the two pieces that got me started collecting OA. Like it came from those cold calls, and yeah, like it's. I think it's my favorite Ron Lim Thanos image.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you like so you even like this one more than the previous one, and if that's the case, let me guess. That's because for you would prefer to see more of the character. Since you love the character, you want to see more of him. And the previous page, you don't really see a lot of him because it's such a close up, right?
Yeah. So to me, like Ron Lim is the best Thanos artist.
Yeah.
Even though Jim created him.
Yeah.
And this I think is the biggest full figure Thanos that Ron has done with the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And the proportions of Thanos here, everything it's just in my mind it's perfect. He looks like a block, just a big muscular block, and he's got the sneer, he's got the glint in his eye, he's got the gauntlet. So this I think is my favorite piece.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and it's easy to forget. So I do want to point it out. When you have such a when you have a piece like this where the image of the popular character is so gigantic, in a sort of half splash type layout, it's easy to forget and not look at the rest of the page. So I just wanted to point out that not only do you get that incredible image that of course it's the main reason you buy it, that's understandable, right? But it's also a bonus that you also still have Warlock there, and you get those cool, creepy, shadowy images of Thanos in two extra panels as well, and again, like I said, most people won't even care because they're so busy looking at the big image, but I don't know. I think that just makes it that much more of a stronger page, because it's not just the half splash. It's he's also there squeezing the life out of a Warlock, and he's there in two panels and drawn in a really cool silhouetted way. So just wanted to point that out as well.
You're right. Actually, the second from the top panel on the right. Is the one that I actually stare at the most, because something about deep blacks draw the eye, and you see the page in person, that panel with contrasted against the sort of feathering or hatching effect around his eyes. It's quite enthralling, I would say. That is actually what I look at more than the full figure when you're just staring at the page.
Yeah, no, it's very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
So that's it. I like to point those things out because oftentimes, a lot of us, we do spend money on these splashy type sort of half splashes, 3/4 splashes, and oftentimes there is nothing really exciting on the other panels, and that's fine. But when there is something pretty cool in the other panels, like it's just I think it's worthy of pointing out just to remind ourselves, hey, look at the rest of the page. It's even better than you think it is, So yeah, I figured I'd point that out. And John says perfectly balanced, like all things should be. Yeah. And Rick says film reel panel design on the right. It's like a film reel. It is. It's really, really cool. So yeah, just definitely worthy. I don't like people focusing so much on the splashy parts that they forget about everything else, So this was such an amazing time to get Warlock and Thanos back, and then Pip and Gamora. Yeah, Silver Surfer was so badass. Ron Lim, favorite artist for all of them. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and actually, weirdly enough, my appreciation of like the cosmic stuff and Ron Lim doesn't come from my childhood, because when I was collecting comics, it was mainly Spider-Man, X-Men, the common stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it was only around, I would say, when I was like in like in university or college that I began to appreciate the cosmic stuff more. And
Interesting. Wow.
yeah, for some reason I gravitated towards the Ron's Thanos as more than like James or George, Perez or Stalin's Thanos. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you say for some reason, and I would like to say that, of course, there's no way for me to know, with absolute certainty. But I would assume that it makes sense to me, at least, to believe that the reason would probably be simply because he was the artist of that character and that whole sort of cosmic part of Marvel at that moment. He was the guy. I mean, sure, you had your Infinity Gauntlet, but as you know, George did 3 issues and had to leave, right? So, and Thanos's return to the Marvel universe was in the Silver Surfer series with Ron Lim drawing it, So I think, to me, that's just why. To me, he was the main artist at that point in time at Marvel, handling most of that cosmic stuff, So I think it's no surprise to me that not only you, by the way, many people, their favorite, their favorite Thanos and Silver Surfer artist is Ron Lim, not Jim Starlin, even though he's the creator, as you say, So I think it's shocking.
I think even though Ron may be perceived by some people as a bit of a journeyman or not as groundbreaking as Stalin or Perez, but to me his proportions is what sticks out most. Like he always nailed the proportion. Like Surfer always looked just right in terms of his musculature and balance, and even the chrome effect of his skin. And Thanos was always just right in terms of his blockiness and his musculature and his heft, his mass. Whereas Stalin could get quite wonky at times in terms of perspective and proportion and I guess Ron had a bit more of the 90s aesthetic blended into his art. So that for me was the perfect mix. Even though to many people it may be a bit too, cookie cutter or mundane, but the way he blended everything into the sum is greater than the parts.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I don't know
that he's getting his recognition, finally, in the market, and that he still has art to sell from those days, because it's quite sad if he had nothing left to benefit from when finally his market has taken off,
Yeah, absolutely. So Dino is saying that Rick Whitelock says he doesn't have a Lim Surfer cover, not yet. Now, Dino, what I want to know is, Dino, are you saying this because this is what you and he have talked about in the past? Or is it that you just texted him after we were talking about whether Rick has one or not? Did you just text him and get this straight from the horse's mouth in the last few minutes? That's what I want to know. Yeah, let me know. Yeah. I'm sure he'll end up with one somehow at some point, I'm sure. So, okay, fantastic. Dick, look what Dino says. He already answered. I woke him up and asked him.
I don't know. Maybe he's still a bit groggy. I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure
Exactly. He's groggy, so he's forgetting about those 4 covers he has in his collection. Thanks, Dino. I appreciate that. That's funny. That is so funny. Okay, let's check out the next piece, guys. And it's another cool piece. I never read this series because for me, I was at an age where I was already a young adult, and for me, I wanted to vote with my wallet. And when I didn't think something was right, I said, screw it, I'm not buying that. And I thought this was just done for a cash grab because Infinity Gauntlet was popular. So I knew they were going to tee off on a whole bunch of other spin-offs, and so I didn't read this. So I've got no clue what's happening here. And please, Dick, let me know a little bit of why there are 2 Thanoses here and this beautiful, beautiful looking page.
Oh, this piece. Oh my god. So before I started collecting OA, I told myself that this piece is my grail.
Oh,
If I
wow.
get this piece, I would stop and be happy.
Stop collecting. Yeah, right.
It's just a lie, as we all know. But I did manage to get it. Yeah. So where to start?
Your
I,
pants are
I
on
got it from a
fire.
very good friend in New York. He's also a huge. He is the original huge Ron Lim cosmic collector in
Oh,
Melbourne.
sorry. I missed that. Who are you talking about, Dick?
I won't name him, but I think most people can figure out who. But
Okay.
yeah, so he was the guy that I got, one of the first people I got in touch with on CAF to
Yeah.
just share my love of Ron Lim and Cosmic and Thanos.
Yeah.
And of course, he had this page, so I've been bugging him about it for a decade now.
Oh.
And we recently managed to close the deal.
Oh, okay. So it's a recent acquisition.
Yes, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
recent acquisition, which he very kindly, let me take care of it going forward. And this one is actually part of it comes with a three or four page sequence with it as well. But this is the standout page, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So this was from Infinity War, and as you said, it's a much weaker ripoff of Infinity Gauntlet. But it was the series that got me into. It was the only cosmic story that I read when I was actually collecting, back in my heyday.
Yeah.
Because somehow it came out at the right time for me. I actually missed Infinity Gauntlet, but Infinity War was when I was collecting, X-Men and Spider-Man. So I read Infinity War, and even then I could tell it wasn't a great story. I just wasn't very interesting, or it didn't make much sense. But the artwork was, to me it was stupendous, especially the Thanos versus Thanos fight scenes, which this page introduces us to.
Yeah. So tell me, or not just me, but anybody else who also, like me, didn't read this, just briefly, if you can, why are there two Thanoses? Like, obviously, one is real and one is not.
Yeah. So the why? Yeah, such a weak story. Okay, because what's the name of the purple? The Magus, right? The Magus, who is Adam Warlock's dark side, had somehow gathered some alternate reality, cosmic cubes. He had gotten cosmic cubes from the multiverse and became really powerful. Then he created doppelgangers of everybody in the 616 universe.
Okay.
To kill all the original characters. So this is Thanos versus his doppelganger. The one without the glove is the original one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, it was a very simple calculation as to why this would be the grail, is because I like Thanos, I like Ron Lim, and this is like two Thanoses on one splash.
Yeah.
It would never happen again. Two bigger, huge Thanoses on one splash. So this must be the best one.
Yeah.
So in my mind, yes, I would make this my favorite. Yeah, actually staring at it now, I still feel like giggling. I can't believe that I finally managed to
You finally acquired it.
Yeah, finally acquired it. But it's really part of the hobby. It's making friends and maintaining the friendships for a decade actually. Yeah, we've been in touch and we meet up when we're in New York, etc.
Yeah.
So it's not really so much like just having the art. It's knowing that it's also handed from one caretaker to another, and both of you are just insanely passionate.
You share the same passion. Exactly. That's absolutely understandable. Absolutely. Yeah. That absolutely adds to the joy of owning stuff like this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I did want to get to a question here. So CJ was saying, if one Thanos is not enough, it's two Thanos more. Okay. And Rick wanted to congratulate you on filling your Infinity Gauntlet with this jewel. Nice, very clever there, Rickster. And so, number one Marvel fan wanted to know, if you had a choice, so obviously it's a hypothetical, what cover would you pick if you could only have one from Silver Surfer? 34, 38, 50, or 56? And I'm assuming you remember what they all look like.
I don't remember 56.
No? Okay. Okay.
But
Well,
the
if
one that I
you
would pick is the one where I think Mephisto and Thanos have like their arms crossed on the cover or something like that.
yeah, well, I'm sure he'll chime in and let us know. But let's say, since you can't remember it, I think that's an easy way to sort of push it out of the way. That wouldn't be your one that you'd want, you know? So
it's the one where both of them are standing back to back with their arms crossed. I think that's the one I want.
that's the one you want, yeah?
It's not one of the high profile ones, no.
Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. Well, that's yeah. So the Mephisto back to back is 45. Knights of Old. Hey, what is up, Knights of Old? Knights of Old is telling me it's 45. Yeah. Thank you. See, that's what I love. You guys always dropping the knowledge. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that's wild. That it's imagine that, number one Marvel fan, that you gave him 4 choices and it was none of those. You assumed for sure it has to be one of those 4, and it was literally none of those. That's pretty shocking. Even to me, I'm pretty surprised too. None of the 4. Wow. So that's cool though. That's what I like. You never know with collectors. Sometimes you think you know their tastes and you got them figured out, and then they surprise you still, you know? Yeah. So that's fun, man. That's really, really cool. The first Mike says the first DTS double Thanos launch. What's DTS?
Double Thanos splash.
Oh, the double splash. Okay. Oh, that's what you're trying to say. Okay, sorry. And Mark also wanted to ask a question here. Do you have Thanos statues by XM Studios?
No statues, no space.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Like always, it's a beautiful hobby and collectible because you can store $1 million worth of stuff in like an A3 size portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. That is the beautiful thing about it.
And store it, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best thing about it. That's what I love. Well, not the best thing about it, but it's one of the great things about it, you know. Let me see. So who else we have? It's about to crush your original art enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of their loss. Nice. Some people certainly take it that seriously, Hart. You know that. So not me. And maybe there was a time when I might have been that serious about it, but I don't think that seriously. Even that's a little bit much for me. Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I couldn't have built a collection without my OA enemies, so to speak. So I don't actually want to crush them. Like, we just want to be friends and share our. Because like I said, most of my best pieces don't come from like public sales, or I mean some do, but a lot also come from friendships and camaraderie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I always say, you know, and that's kind of like I tell all these guys all the time that it's the one thing I decided to just do this YouTube thing for, because I figured, well, if I had this idea to do what we're doing now, right? But similar to Comic Art Live, but rather than just make it like interviews, right? I don't want to just think up of a bunch of questions to ask somebody. I thought, if I can just have at least one person in the studio with me to talk, but the whole goal for me was always anybody who shows up in the live chat and participates, I will take the time to give them a voice as well and bring them in as part of the conversation just as much as me and you and whoever else is in the studio, you know, so that it feels like more of like it's a bunch of collectors coming in together to talk about the same stuff, not just a bunch of them coming in to sit there and watch and listen to 2 of us talk. You know what I mean? So it like you said,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. So,
the sense of camaraderie. That's what I'm into it for, really, more than anything now.
yeah, so just like you, I'm kind of more of a conversation starter. Like that's why I wrote my column, the OA aficionado column back in 2018 to 2020. Like I just wanted to foster this discussion and discourse about OA of all sorts, which didn't really exist back in those days. Unlike now, where the platforms, so many platforms, especially like yourself and Bill, where everybody can just come on, shoot the breeze, chit chat, bring up whatever topics they want to discuss. It was quite, to me, it was quite constricted in 2018 and before. It was basically just a CGC board.
Yeah.
And there was just no other outlet for, OA chit chat.
Yeah.
So I wrote those articles as the kind of way to hopefully, begin
Yeah, they were
or seed some conversations, and also build awareness of the market and build the market for OA. That's why I focus mainly around like market reports and market movements, price trends, etc.
Yeah.
Try to legitimize OA a bit more. And after I said my piece, very fortunately, Bill, yourself, and a few others took up the mantle and ran with it. And now,
Yeah.
it's like multiple shows a week, and Kavi as well, Asia Punk, multiple shows a week, just talking about OA, which is fantastic. And then all the private chats on, social media and
exactly.
apps and all that is amazing.
Exactly. And that's what I always said is, it's choice, right? It's about choice. Now you got a bunch of choice, and check them all out. And the ones that you like the most, those are the ones you participate in, right? Like there's no time to do everything for most people. That's understandable. But at least with choice, you can try a bunch of different types of shows and stuff, and you'll find the one that's more like appealing to you, and that's it. Stick to that, So that's fun. That's so that's why, and then that's why I keep doing it, right? Just because it's just fun, and it's just a fun way to keep in contact regularly, and especially it's nice to have a lot of, a lot of these guys, that come in to hang out every week on my channel. They're like regulars, right? So we all kind of, we get to know each other, and we know each other's personalities. we can tell each other off and make fun of each other if we want to. It's all in good fun, and everybody understands that. And nobody has ever had a problem in 9 or 10 months I've been doing the channel now, and I don't no, we've never even had one single instance of somebody coming into the chat and just being mean to somebody or saying something bad, or you know what I mean. It hasn't happened. Everybody's friendly to each other. Everybody's helpful to each other. Like I said, camaraderie. And that's really what it should be about. That's what makes the hobby fun to me,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Knights of Old is saying that maybe Ron kept his surfer covers. That is possible. I will admit. Now, it's harder to believe, Knights. It's harder to believe for me, simply because, most artists back in those days, right, guys who were working in the late 80s and on, if you were already willing to sell your pages in those days, the likelihood is that you were willing to sell anything, not just, I'll sell my interiors, but I'm going to hang on to my covers. But again, it's possible. It absolutely is possible, especially since we've seen very few of them. It's possible. But I kind of feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's not. I feel like it's not him. I don't know, but it could be. So who knows? Who knows, right? Who knows? I don't know.
I don't think he has many, if any.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
My understanding.
Yeah. Rich, I have a very interactive format. Well, yeah, that's my whole point. That's what I was trying to say, Rich, is that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take what was being done on Comic Art Live, but rather than most of us in the chat who are like, we're there for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, typing. But, most of those comments and questions don't get addressed. right? It's more about the interview that's going on and on screen. And so I figured if I just do that, have somebody with me on screen, but make you guys, make the chatters a part of the show, give you guys a voice. I thought that would be fun. And it has been. So that's why I keep doing it, because it's a fun hangout. No matter if we're doing a hangout episode or a show and tell episode, I think we've gotten to the point where it really feels laid back and relaxed, and we're all friends with each other. We're all comfortable with each other. We help each other out when we have to or we need to, and it's just cool and fun and chill, right? So interactive. That's what I want. I wouldn't keep doing this if people started begging me to, just interview whoever you have on screen. Interview. Don't mind us in the chat. I would say, you know what? I think I'll just stop doing the channel or whatever completely. I have no interest in doing that. For me, the interest is in all of us coming and hanging out and all of us interacting together. So so that's it. But so that's it. So Knights now is saying, Ruben, does he have? Yeah. Do you have any eradicate? Knights is looking for Eradicator's #1 art. Do you have any of that, Dick? No. Dick, I'm curious. Do you even know what Eradicators is? Knights.
I've heard of it, but I can't picture it.
Yeah. Knights, just so you know, to be clear, Dick is not, because everybody kind of combines them together, but Dick is actually not some massive Silver Surfer cosmic guy that you might be thinking. He mentioned it earlier before you came in. He's specifically all about Thanos. That's his thing. It's Thanos. Yeah. So that's yeah. So it's not about
Thanos and the cosmic beings, the big cosmic entities. Galactus, Eternity, Living Tribunal. Yeah, I love those more than Thanos, actually.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, perfect. We're glad we settled that for Knights. CJ says that it is definitely the way it is. You have done a great job fostering that. Oh, but what I was just talking about. Thank you, man. Thank you. And in large part to you, like I say, the people who come in and take the time and effort to come in live, especially the regulars. I mean, I really, like I've said in the past, I can't thank you enough. I don't know what else to say, but I'm so appreciative of it. And you guys really do it. It wouldn't be with you guys not showing up. The only thing I could do would be like an interview show for people to watch on Rewind. I don't want to do that. So it's thanks to guys like you, CJ. So thank you so much. And plus no one else will listen to your bullshit, right? Yeah. Especially your wife, I'm sure. Yes, Rick, exactly. Comrades in art. Exactly. There we go. Mark says, suggestion, ask XM Studio. Here we go again with the, Mark, what's your obsession with these statues? So ask XM Studios to reach out to Ron Lim as they have contact with Marvel IP folks. For what, though? Reach out for what reason? You mean to ask him if he has the covers? Is that what you mean? Not really sure. Let me know, Mark. There's James. Okay, James says, hey, Dickie, just tuned. Was tied up. Yeah, James, just so you know, I let Dick know that you had come in, that you usually come in late, and I let him know that you had jumped into Nikki B's chat on Friday and posted about how Dick was instrumental when you were first getting into the hobby. So I let him know what you had said on Friday, just so you know I've got your back. So that's all. Just want you to know. Yeah, so there you go. James. And there you go. So James is saying he was one of the first people I talked to. Okay. Now, James,
and then he still asked me in terms of collector, ranking points. Because James is a networker, so he just. Oh no,
he's he's been a hustler in this hobby for the few years he's been in. So, okay, because Oh, and the old CGC forums. I see. That's why. Okay. Because I was gonna say, James, when you first got in, like, to be honest, it's kind of surprising to me that of all people that you would have started talking to, that it would have been someone like Dick, simply because, you're such a 90s Marvel, X-Men centric collector and lover, right? And that's not at all what he's into. So yeah, it's kind of the only thing you guys collecting wise seem to have in common is the fact that 90s was the time period. So the time period is right, but the material is completely different. So it's kind of surprising to me,
I think it was because of the OA aficionado column that I wrote.
He just popped in to say art aficionado. Okay, there you go.
I covered everything in those articles, like 60s to current day prices.
Yes,
I covered it all. So
exactly. Okay.
I think that's why we got in touch. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then he reached out after he read those. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Same with John, I think. John Nguyen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's why
because of your columns as well.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
John also was a big supporter, and I think he was just getting into it at the time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Better be art related. Unacceptable, James. So artificial articles and read them. Okay, cool. That's cool. Well, good. And thank you for dropping in and saying hello and supporting Dick's appearance here tonight. I appreciate it. Okay, guys. Well, Dick, are you cool to want to take a look at another piece?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If the audience has any questions or topics we can discuss, just bring it up. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. What just so you guys know, what Dick and I had mentioned just a couple of minutes before we went live, I thought that since we don't really have a ton of pieces to show, I actually thought we would maybe show more pieces to start and then ultimately get into just chat. Ultimately, the way we usually go with, as we always do, we go with the flow anyways, and the way it has flowed is we've done showing, chatting, showing again, chatting. Anyway, so, but yeah, we still have, because we're doing a lot of chatting in between, we still have quite a few pieces, even though there's not many in total. So we'll keep doing that. And if we get to the point where we've shown all the art, and the time hasn't gone, to our usual limits, and as long as Dick is interested and you guys are willing to hang out, then we can, once we're done with the art, we can just keep chatting about whatever everybody wants to chat. So I keep watching you guys, of course, for all your comments, but for any questions in particular, don't be shy to throw them out. And I as you guys know, I always get to all your questions, and for Christ's sakes, I get to practically all your comments as well. So, so there we go. Yeah, so Rich, exactly. 3 more hours for Stanley. Where is Stanley tonight? What's up? What's up with Stanley? He's gonna pop in about an hour from now as we're closing the show. He's gonna pop in and Dick, please tell me what your 10 favorite Thanos artists are in order. Just so we could. That's so funny. But okay, let's get to another piece, and then we'll resume chatting about this, that, and everything else. Okay, you want to know right away? Justice for Stanley. That's so funny. You want to know right away, James? Sharing any Larson Spidey? I look. I don't want to keep you. I know you have a family, so I'm gonna tell you there's no Larson Spidey tonight. You can go now. You can join the
Larson Spidey now. Oh,
say what?
Is James into Larson Spidey now?
I don't know So this was going to be the second thing I was going to say. It was like, number 2 was, yeah, James, why would you even ask such a thing? I'm not really sure. Is he making a reference to is it something that you went after at an auction or something?
No, I have a few Larson Spideys, some very nice ones.
Okay.
I don't know why. Maybe he's moving into a new field.
Well, he'll let us know, I'm sure. He'll let us know. It's fine. It's fine, but I know what you collect, Dick. Okay, it's fine. Okay. Did you
Yeah,
want to see it? That's what we're wondering, James, is were you hoping to see that? Because or were you expecting it? Because I would have expected everybody would expect it just to be Thanos tonight. That's what that's
no,
what
there's
I
one
would
or two Venoms, but it's not my Larsen Venom. Like I have a nice Larsen Venom splash, which I think I shared with James in our chat group, but I don't have a good scan of it. Like I only have like a picture.
Picture, yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody knows what I think of bad pictures. So let's not talk about that.
Wow, luckily I didn't give any then. It's all high quality scans. Woo! Yeah. So like
Well,
I do have quite a lot of other pieces, but not scanned. So I can't really share them on. I mean, like no point. It's a bit blurry and like.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so James is saying that was the one. It's an amazing Larsen Venom.
It's the best Venom ever created, in my opinion.
Nice.
In my unbiased opinion, it's the best Venom piece ever made.
No bias there, everybody. Just so you know, that is a very objective,
artistic.
He's being very objective, of course, as we all know.
No, like honestly, that piece I would compare to Todd's first Venom splash at the end of 299. Like that and the last splash I have, to me, the two like best, most significant Venom pieces.
Okay, Rick says that there's no antidote for that Venom. So that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. So okay, excellent. Let's go and see the next piece of our boys, shall we? And girls. Hopefully, I keep saying guys, girls, gals, and even though I never really see gals, I gotta get some gal collectors in here. Oh, okay. By the way, good question. Before I show the next piece, Dick, by any chance, have you ever seen in Singapore at the local conventions or shops girls looking to deal original art? Somebody holding original art, like, and I mean, because I know there's a lot more female collectors of like sketches. They like to get, because it's more about the experience with the artists, right? So there's a lot of them that tend to get sketches, and they like getting sketches at conventions and stuff. But I mean, like, have you seen girls in Singapore, females in Singapore, that you can tell, that you know for a fact are collectors of published original artwork? Because that's a lot rarer.
I know a couple. I introduced one friend to the OA, and so she dabbles in it, and she buys like published X-Men and Storm pages.
Oh, interesting.
But she's in the US at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it's already a niche hobby, a niche of a niche.
Yeah.
In Singapore, I'm not sure that I have. I try to introduce some of my girlfriends to OA, and they get interested in it. But no, I don't know personally. Yeah, like you said, the few I know are also mainly like character collectors, so they will buy certain sketches of OA, but really they're more of like a character or artist fan.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm familiar with that, you know. But none. I've yet to sort of see one other than Reba. There's Reba has popped into the chat on a few occasions to support some guys that she knows in the hobby that she's friends with. Now, she's in Australia. I believe it was Australia. And I reached out to her recently to see if I would love to do something with her, but she didn't respond back. And I reached out to her when she was in the chat once, and she said she's shy. So okay, I take a hint. I'll take the hint, you know. But aside from her, aside from Jill, there's Jill who also collects sketches, but also some published art as well, a mix of both. But other than them, like it's so they're truly a rarity. They're more rare than Ron Lim Silver Surfer covers on the open market.
No. Ron Lim Silver Surfer is still rarer. Yeah, it's still rarer.
I'll
Yeah.
take your word for it. But Rich agrees, right? Like most female collectors I know, they're more into commissions than published art. Yeah, exactly. I think for them, they're more readers. They like to read, and they have more of a connection to the creator and the stories. And so it's the interaction with the creator at the convention that's what sort of makes them get the commissions, you know. And then also through
But
the mail
I
as well.
think it's just a natural progression. It's like, comic book readers, less than 1% will collect OA. So if you just subset it into female comic book readers, there's even less, and then you subset it into OA female comic book collectors, it's even less. But they exist, I'm sure. Like the friend I introduced, she's an X-Men fan. She's read all the X-Men comics. She's in Boston now, and she attends as many cons as she can. She asks me about certain pieces and prices from time to time that she sees. So there are female collectors of published OA for sure, yeah. But we are already a niche of a niche of a niche, and then female collectors are another niche again. So but it's the thing about this hobby that really appeals to me is the how do I say, the openness and friendliness, and the level of discourse and thought in the hobby. Like everybody is very intelligent, articulate, well mannered, and of course passionate. So it's a very it's a very special subset of humanity, lah. Like most other groups or hobbies will have some
except for CJ, he's illiterate apparently. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, just pretty pictures, and it's good enough. Yeah, that's what we call it.
That's why he loves comics, because he can see the big, pretty pictures.
I'm like that as well. Like when I read comics or watch movies, I just want I like the straightforward stuff.
Yeah.
Like Sandman was a slog. I gave up halfway. Like too many words.
I gave up.
I'm a lawyer, right? But no, too many words. No.
Yeah, I bought the first, second, or third issue or something like that when it first came out. It just wasn't my type of thing. Yeah, but but whatever. Yeah, no, but it's true that what's CJ? I made fun of you, and now you're saying what is like pictures? What?
It's like pictures. I like pictures.
Yeah.
Okay,
excellent. So Rich also is saying the only comics I read were Sandman or then that's true for a lot of guys that I know. They got their wife interested in Sandman, right? And that whatever, and that's kind of like that, but that's the only thing they seem to be interested in, kind of thing. They certainly
Fables
often
as well. Yeah. Fables,
Sandman, some of them, yeah. But artist-wise, my wife loves getting painted portraits from Brian Stelfreeze. Okay, that's cool. Why not? Not that it's easy to get from him, because he, all the stories I hear, he's hard to fill out those, come through with the commissions for a lot of people. But it's cool. Okay, as I said, number one Marvel fan also. My wife liked Fables and Sandman. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it, the whole thing about superheroes, you wonder, like, why doesn't it appeal to women, females, right? And especially nowadays when you see that, okay, the movies, right? It's not just guy superheroes. There's some female superheroes too, and yet the comics still don't appeal. And I've always wondered, could it be simply that the way they're drawn is just so sexualized that it's a turnoff to most women? I've long thought that kind of probably must be a turnoff. The way that every single female in comics is drawn, like they're 38 double D, 22-inch waist, that whole aspect of it. And the fact that the ones that wear costumes always look like their costumes are painted on, like instead of actual, leather or material, you know. I don't know. I mean, but there has to be a reason why they don't seem to appeal to the female demographic, you know. And
So quite a few female comic readers I know, they like ensemble books like X-Men, you know, the more soapy soap opera kind of titles, even though there's action. And I think that makes sense. Like for the majority of humanity, you want to read about stories with, you know, real, you know, some kind of, you know, emotion and connections and relationships. But for a lot of superhero comics, it's just fantasy fulfillment. I'm a big buff guy, I'm just gonna dash up people, which is fine. Like I love the big buff characters like Venom, Thanos, Juggernaut. That's what I like. And, you know,
yeah. Well, look,
dashing up is great, you know, but that's I guess more of a male-centric thing, which is okay. You know?
Yeah, so look, James is making a good point, right? So, well, all the dudes are drawn with dad bods, right? No, obviously they're drawn, you know, like the perfect specimen. But like Dick just said, for boys, you know, because most of us, let's be honest, most of us discovered this stuff and got interested when we were boys, not men, right? And for us, the fantasy is, wow, extra powers, right? Like superpowers. You're not just strong, you're strong way beyond imagination. And you have all these other powers that are not just super strength. Somehow that appeals to boys. Yet, even when they created plenty of female superheroes, as a kid, you know, come on, there was no little girls that were like, oh yeah, superhero girls. Okay, you found the superhero that's a girl. Oh yeah, I love this now. I'm gonna read comics. No, it didn't seem to help. And so, you know, the way that the female figure is drawn in comics, it has always been drawn in comics, that appeals to men, to boys and men, right? Prepubescent, pubescent, post-pubescent, you know, it appeals to us. But it is very sexualized. So I don't know. Somehow females have never looked at comics and said, ooh, look at all those gorgeous guys ripped to shreds, right? Like, I'm going to start reading comics. Right?
It sounds like me, actually. Oh, look at Juggernaut. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know, James. I like I said, I don't know why it is. I'm trying. That's why I'm asking the question. I would love to know why it has never really appealed to most women, you know? And James is now responding with, most Cape books are power trip fantasies, and guys like those kinds of books, films, toys. That is true. But why does it not appeal seemingly at all to the women? You know, and regardless of the age, right? Because whether they're little girls, teenage girls, or adult women, most don't seem to give a crap, you know? So
I think it's probably unfair to generalize comics as a whole as unappealing to women. It's just male superhero comics. But I mean, like in manga and, you know, Chinese manhwa, and like we mentioned, Sandman fables, it's more about, if you just have, you know, compelling characters and storylines, as with anything else, as with any book, movie, television show, people of all demographics will like it. But it just so happens that what we collect has historically been more geared towards young boys.
Yeah,
so
that's
fine,
true.
no problem. You know, it's like not all of us want to collect other things which maybe have been more geared towards, you know, other demographics. So like manga has huge female readerships.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's just about the stories and the characters. Yeah, because manga has a big variety of genres within it.
Yes,
and so does Western comic books. To be fair, it's just that we focus on the male superhero comics.
Yeah.
That's you know, the Europeans have tons of different genres as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Mark says that his LCS said the most popular title these days among female buyers is Nightwing, especially those with cheesecake covers of Dick Grayson. That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, it's hey, if it's if it's selling to females, that's always a good thing. So I'm happy to hear that. A lot of people have told me that two things I want to mention about Nightwing. A lot of people have told me that historically speaking, I've never read them, but which is weird because you would think it's weird because I've always been a big New Teen Titans fan from back in the day. I never read his solo book, but people have told me that he has a huge gay following too. So I don't know if that's true, but yeah. So it's cool if the girls, if girls are buying Nightwing, especially cheesecake covers, or I guess beefcake covers is what we call them for the men. That's cool. I'm glad to hear it. James, dude, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I brought it up, because I said I want to get female guests. That's why. And like I said, the one that I asked said she was too shy, and so. Yeah. But anyways, we'll see. We'll keep looking. But okay, everybody. Again, probably for the fourth time I'm saying it. Let us get to the next piece of art. And check this out. This is it's not a double page spread. It just looks like it because I put two pages together, and we're going to look at two consecutive pages here. And I'll go back and forth so you guys can see, make some sense of it here with the color, and then go back again here, and then do my little strobe effect action like we're at the club. And yeah, leave it on the original art. Talk to me, Dick. Talk to me.
Yeah. So okay, guys. Sorry, guys and girls. This is, I think, one of the last cosmic pieces. I know it's a lot. What I was trying to show was like a sequence of the Infinity Saga and comics. So there was a Gauntlet War and now a Crusade example. And this one encapsulates my love of the big cosmic beings. So there's a phenomenal Eternity, half splash here, and just panels filled with him everywhere as well. So this is really my sweet spot. And once again, it's a Ron Lim. It's a Ron Lim Eternity, and just something about the character design of Eternity has always, I think, appealed to me, even subconsciously from my early collecting days. Like the sheer creativity, and the imagination to design a character that has the universe just floating and spinning within him.
Yeah, that's all.
Like where do you think of these weird horns and the shape around his head and the cape? I mean, it's just, maybe they were high on something, but whatever it is, it works. Like this, Galactus, Ego, the Living Tribunal, the Watcher. How do you conceptualize these things? And but somehow they have endured, and they really appeal to collectors like myself.
Yeah, it's cool. And Rick is mentioning that on the left page, it's almost the same format layout as the Thanos half splash, right?
Yeah. So once again, it's probably the biggest Ron Lim Eternity, full figure. And it's Ron's proportions, it's something about it just really clicks with me. And then Milgram's inking of the Cosmos, classic.
Yeah, so it's lovely. I really like it. Jeff claims that if you photocopy an infinity piece of art, you will open an interdimensional portal. True story. Is it really a true story?
Have you take a photo of it on your phone or something like this? Wow. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and Rich is backing up what you were saying. Drugs were very prevalent with creative types in the 1970s. It's very true. So that's why I said you could be correct about that.
Yeah. Most of the cosmics were created by Kirby at first. So like Galactus.
Oh, that's true. That's
Watcher,
true.
I think Watcher
he was as straight-laced as you can get. So he was not out there dropping acid and smoking pot.
But then, of course, there's Stalin.
But Starlin, the Starlin era. Yeah.
So he was definitely having fun. Yeah.
That's it. That's right. The 70s guys for sure, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So very cool. Very nice piece. And I want to, Gil, just so you know that I was not ignoring you or skipping over your comments. I was doing it on purpose because I wanted to wait till we came back on screen to handle your comment. So your wife has no interest in comics, but movies like Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy, both of which are like the humorous type, she finds appealing. So I can understand that because the appeal is probably in the humor. It's like an adventure, humorous, comedy, if you will. So it's not really about the fact that it's superheroes, and that kind of makes sense, right? So I understand that, yeah. And you also say that to some extent, women probably find it childish. I agree that to some extent. Certainly, when we were all like little kids in those days, when you never saw like no girl, no female would be caught dead in a comic shop or at a convention when we were kids. Yeah, in those days, my God, yeah, it's all about, because of that whole idea of comics are for kids, So yeah, but now the movies have sort of made it. They've really broadened the horizons of the whole superhero genre, so that even girls who maybe, or females who once upon a time, who may be middle aged now like me, who once upon a time would have laughed at whatever guy said, I read comics, right? Some of them, plenty of them, have gone and watched movies at the theater of, Marvel movies, DC movies, whatever, I'm sure, The interesting thing, though, is that even the females who watch those movies, it's not like they suddenly translate into comic book readers, They don't think, oh, that was such a great movie. You know what? I just got to keep the adventure continuing. I'm going to go to a comic shop and hunt down some comic books and continue reading comics about these characters. That just doesn't happen, So it's a shame, but that's just how it is. What are you going to do? And what else? What is there here? Hold on, drugs.
Yeah, sorry, Ruben. Can I get a 2-minute timeout?
You gotta go. You gotta go.
No. Just couple minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I'll be back.
Absolutely. So Hart, yeah, drugs and orifices, nice, equals cosmic art. Let's remember Space Clowns popped up in Warlock. Yeah, exactly. Listen, guys. Let's be honest with each other. I think those of us certainly who saw or read those comics, we're very well aware, and those of us who are old enough, we're very well aware about, what the 70s were like. And, some of these guys sort of, came of age in the late 60s, the hippie era. Listen, it's not a secret. A lot of those creators have openly mentioned it. Like, they don't have any reason to have to hide that. They've all talked about the fact that, back in the 70s, they were dropping, acid, doing all kinds of drugs. So, yeah, for sure, a lot of the ideas, that came out back in those days were derived from, the influence of that which they were under, So, absolutely. So, Tariq, what are you telling me here? Rumors there will be a bigger role for Eternity. I've heard that Eternity might appear again. I don't know if he would have a bigger role, but it's kind of a visually cool looking character. So anybody that's visually cool looking, I'm all for them appearing in movies, And hope Warlock becomes huge. Oh, is Warlock coming out? Because again, I want to just make it clear, I don't watch all the Marvel movies. So yeah, let me know, somebody. Did Warlock finally appear in one of the movies? Because I thought him and Nova, everybody was like waiting for years and years, and apparently what I knew is that they weren't. Yeah, they just weren't doing it. So, yeah, Rick, he went to do it. He went to make a cold call. Oh, that's so funny. 4 more days till Guardians 3. Oh, I see. Oh, so we know for a fact Warlock is supposed to come out in Guardians 3. Is that right? Okay. That I don't know. I don't keep up with the movie news, so that's that. Yeah, the doors of perception. Yeah, exactly. Most of the stories of what went down at art studios are not fit for public consumption. Yeah, no, that's true. Very true. Warlock had the Universal Church of Truth. Yeah, I wasn't into that. I like the visuals of a lot of the cosmic stuff, but I can honestly say I'm not a big fan of reading this stuff. Especially that anything with like the religious undercurrents or whatever. It's just not my thing. Warlock. Okay, so Warlock is in the new Guardians movie. Okay, well, I'll be curious to see how much they change him. Yeah, that should be interesting. So, Sir Warlock coming out next week. Okay, and Warlock. Yep, everybody's chiming in now. Okay, and Knights of Old says, I hope they don't name more Warlock. Oh, you mean like supremely change him so far beyond what he actually is supposed to look like? Oh, he's in the trailers. Okay, I'll check it out. I'll check it out later after the show then. Okay, so just tell me now though, because maybe you can save me from having to waste my time. Does he look like he does in the comics at any point in the comics or not? Just tell me yes or no. If not, I'm not going to bother. And Starlin had a lot of religious overtones in his books. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was saying, which was, for me, reading that kind of stuff, it just goes over my head and in one ear, out the other, kind of, so to speak, Okay, fellas, let's hit the next piece of art. And that one will be, before I do that, actually, sorry, because Nick came by and reminded me, and then he left. So please, just a reminder, everybody, check out Nick's show on the EXP every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. It's a combination chat show / sales show, but I guess you should say sales first / chat. But frankly, there's a lot more chat than there is sales. But it's a fun show. A lot of us that are here tonight are on that show, or not on screen, but we appear in the chat there. And it's a lot of fun. So please do check that out. Somebody please remind me whether I think Nick had said no show this coming week. Is that right? Is that right, Marcus, or anybody else who was there this week? I think somebody. I just saw somebody comment about. Okay, so no show this week or next week, something like that. Yes, next show is a blast. But I just want to know if should I be telling people to go this Friday or not. Nick will have Spider-Boy art, which we all hate. Oh, okay. But is that this week, Marcus? I don't know if he has a show this week. I thought I saw something. They said that it wasn't going to be on this week. And of course, the friggin' delay on YouTube is taking forever for me to see your responses. So anyways, for those of you watching this on Rewind, I do appreciate you as always. Please do check out Nick's show every Friday. I'm still trying to get confirmation as to whether he has an episode this Friday or not. But okay, so he has it scheduled. Oh yeah, come to think of it. Oh God, I'm so stupid. Thanks, Marcus. I actually just remembered that earlier this afternoon, I went and I saw it. It crossed my path on YouTube, and I left him my usual likes. So it's on. So okay, so everybody, it's gonna be on. And that is here. Check this out. That is youtube.com/the-exp. And if you haven't checked that out, check it out this Friday because it's a lot of fun. So there you go. Okay. Now, back to the art, everybody. And now that Dick has finished dancing around in his room and doing a little dance, practicing for the clubs on Friday nights, we are going to go check out another piece of art here. And for this, this is a cool one. Speaking of eternity, everybody, check out this. This is cool. A type of art that I have come to really appreciate in recent years. I never used to care about it, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I really kind of like when I see it now. And so this is from the Marvel Universe Series 3 card set. This is card 155. Artwork by Paul Ryan, ink by Terry Austin from 1992. Very, very cool. And before I let Dick tell us something about this, I also want you guys to see that he also has the original art for the backside of the card, which is the tiny eternity head, which I thought was really, really cool. And also, yeah, all Ryan Terry Austin. So there we go. We'll leave it on this one, though, since most people want to see the front. But yeah, tell us about this, Dick.
All right. Promise this is the last cosmic piece. Yeah, so I thought it'd be nice to throw some color into all the black and white stuff. And this is the card art that I most associate with eternity. I think when I was young, I mentioned that in primary school, a lot of us were collecting comic books and trading cards. And this was the hot set, I think, in those days. And it may be the seed of me becoming interested in cosmic beings, because this is the image that I most associate with eternity. And yeah, I was thrilled to pick it up in a heritage auction many years ago.
Oh, wow.
It's basically about 6x9, I would say.
Oh, that's a 9 inches is a lot. It's taller than I might have expected. I actually thought it would have been smaller. Yeah.
I think maybe it's a bit smaller than that.
Okay.
But it's definitely bigger than the trading card itself.
Okay, well that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think this is the set that actually got me interested in cosmic beings and planted the seed, even though I didn't read about them or collect anything to do with them for the next 10 or 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Marcus makes a good point. I was going to say the same thing, that this may be the first one from like a Marvel card set that I saw as with the original art being colored. I think that's very interesting, and like he said, surprising. Have you ever seen other pieces from card sets that were colored?
Yes, most card art. From this set, they are all colored.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're all hand colored.
Oh,
and then of course all the painted card art is colored. Like the Marvel masterpieces.
No, obviously those are paintings, right? But this is just in order to publish trading cards, of course you have to, you're not going to publish them in black and white. People want to see them in color, so of course they're going to be colored. Except, this is not painting. This is just coloring. So, like Marcus and I probably are thinking the same thing, that we think that we would have expected it to be colored, on a photocopy or something like that.
I think it could be Blue Line. I can't quite remember now, but it's definitely. Yeah, it's not just color pencils. I think it's mixed media. There's probably some airbrush and paints and stuff.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I know for this set, it was all done this way.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
But I believe for the previous Marvel Universe Series 1 or 2, there is some line art I've seen floating about, but very few. Yeah.
Okay. And another thing that's also I want to point out that's surprising and interesting to me is the choice of artist. Yeah, I mean, given that it's 1992, given that Ron Lim, George Perez, and all these guys were sort of involved in the cosmic stuff at the time, and whoever all those fill-in artists were on the Silver Surfer series. It's kind of odd to me that they would choose someone like Paul Ryan to do one of the cosmic beings. I don't know. Am I the only one who feels that way? Sounds like
did some Fantastic Four stuff, which had Watcher and stuff. So maybe.
Oh yeah, well so I remember he was a Fantastic Four. Is it possible that one of those issues, because it's been so long, I don't remember. Maybe some of the issues that he did at Fantastic Four at the time, were they taking place in outer space? Maybe with the Eternals or something like that. I don't remember, but maybe
I have a Paul Ryan FF page with the Watcher.
Okay. So, so maybe it's possible. That makes sense. It makes more sense now. Yeah, that's probably why. That's probably why they probably asked him. It was probably because he had probably drawn him in an FF issue or something. So very, very, very neat. Okay, so everybody get ready for the next piece, because the next piece is going to blow your mind. If only for the fact that it is not Thanos related.
What is it? It's not cosmic, I'm sure, right?
It's not even. Wow, you know what's funny? I was going to say it's not even cosmic, but given given a certain miniseries from about 3 years ago, you can technically call this guy now a cosmic character. So this is Venom, Sinner Takes All, #5 cover. But yeah, I mean, they did the miniseries a few years ago. The what do you call it? The first symbiote, Venom. What was it called again? Venom. First symbiote, what's it? The first first host.
Yeah, the Kids Run, I think. He's
Yeah,
he's now a king of the symbiotes or something.
Yeah, and that whole thing about Null, right? The king of the symbiotes, Null, that Null character. I didn't read any of that stuff, so I don't know what that's going on. But you know what's going on with that. But yeah, it seems to all take place on other planets and outer space. So technically, it's like Venom. The symbiote universe is becoming cosmic now. You know, so I don't know. But talk to me about this one a bit.
I mean, I like Venom as a street level character. I mean, to me, his cosmic links are a bit, I think, far-fetched, but I guess Cates was trying to expand the mythos. But so to me, Venom is this, slightly deranged anti-hero street level character, which is what I identify him as, and the character design of Venom itself, gives different artists the opportunity to really go wild and showcase all their most, demented and grotesque, fantasies and designs, which is I think what I appreciate of the Venom character. Like when he starts off, like when Todd draws him, just a big buff dude, in black, looks really cool, and then when Larson comes along, he gives him the crazy teeth and the tongue and the jaw and then like horror artists like Carl Hotz, they just go really striated and I think that's why I'm drawn to the Venom aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right. For him, it's not so much like the cosmic level characters. I think I'm seeing a pattern now. I'm really drawn to characters based on their character design and their aesthetics.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't matter what their backstory is.
Yeah. No, but I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I think it's a visual medium. So what attracts us first is what we see with our eyes, right? Right. So it's like if we're little kids, maybe it's either a comic book or a cartoon on television where like we see the superhero and it's like, oh, it looks cool. There's something about the costume that appeals to us, right? The design of the costume or the mask or whatever. So that makes total sense. I mean, I think we could say all of us can say the same thing. It's that's what drives us. It's the appeal. We find the appeal in how certain characters are designed, even though some of us don't agree on which are the cooler looking characters, and everybody's got their own, different things appeal to different people, right? It's still art. So yeah, but that's totally.
So Venom collecting is particularly fun and exciting because like I said, it gives each artist almost free reign to depict him as they want because it's a bunch of flowing goo, right? You can do whatever you want with it, and a lot of them do, So like I can read off like 10, so of course Todd, Eric, Larson, Ron Lim, Mark Bagley, who else? Carl Hotz, Adam Kubert. My background is an Adam Kubert one. Kelly Jones, that was the hardest one to get because Kelly doesn't sell his art, so very, very, very few Venom pages of his on the market. And once again, another friendly collector who I met through my articles and conversations long ago.
Who?
Finally,
Who?
Which one? For what?
What other collector that you met long ago?
So I mean, I won't name him, but
I see. Okay. I thought you had named him. Okay.
He let me have his Kelly Jones Venom page, which
I
is
see.
almost as rare as a Ron Lim Silver Surfer cover. Actually, they are equally rare because I've seen one or two in my time, so they're equally rare. and so to get that page, he had it to me for a very fair price, and it was a phenomenal page with a few full figure shots of Venom in Kelly Jones's ridiculous, over muscled, hugely striated style. Yeah, Venom is probably the most fun character to collect in terms of the variety of
The different the different depictions from different
yeah,
artists, right? And how they depict them. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. And the ones that the artists that get to draw them, pretty sure not all of them, but I think most of the artists decide, okay, I can play with him in a certain to a certain degree, and make him my own in a sense, and yeah, exaggerate certain parts of him or whatever, and yeah. So yeah, and then that does make it interesting as a collector, especially, right? Because it's the same character, but it's not always the same thing, even though it is the same character, when you keep getting from different artists, different depictions from them, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, excellent. Well, that's another very cool piece. And let us lead. We'll use that one to lead us over into back into Cosmic, everybody. Back into Cosmic. You knew it wasn't going to last long.
Oh no, is that still Cosmic? I thought.
No. Well, Cosmic. I mean, Cosmic. It's Cosmic characters. That's all I mean. Okay. What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
No, I thought I tried to push away. Oh no, yeah. You're right. No, because I'm trying to showcase the 3 or 4 characters that I collect. Yeah, I mean characters that I collect. Yeah.
Yes. Well. Look. The next one, I'm calling him Cosmic Character.
He is yes. Yeah.
Okay, let's show him and see if maybe people agree or not.
Yeah.
Was that
sorry? Sorry, audience. There is more cosmic stuff. I lied and I forgot. So Galactus, Celestials. Yeah, cosmic.
Yeah.
What is that to say? Yeah. So once again, come back to the same point. Like I cannot fathom what Kirby was thinking and Stan, to an extent, were thinking when they created Galactus and the Celestials.
Yeah.
I don't know where you start. What's the starting point of this thought process to get here? In terms of the mythos and the character design, but it's just phenomenal and otherworldly.
Yeah, they're wild. They're very wild. That's for sure.
Really, just it comes from one of my favorite Marvel series, the Earth X universe.
You like you? That's one of your favorite series?
The Earth X, because once again, I guess it's a cosmic tale. it's a alternate reality cosmic tale.
Yeah.
But so this is one of the later installments, the Paradise X series, and I think I grossed. This is one of the few times I got into a bidding war online on Hates of all places, and
oh wow,
I think I grossly overpaid for it.
Really?
But it doesn't look so bad in hindsight because the prices have risen in tandem. But so the DPS Galactus, actually, exhibiting his power set against the Celestials, and it's rare to see these like major mega cosmic beings actually duking it out,
Yeah.
in a slugfest kind of environment. So
absolutely. And I actually wanted to ask you because you had read it, because I see in the background on the left hand side I see the 2 Celestials, but I was wondering if the one behind Galactus and the one that Galactus is firing at, are those also Celestials? Because I look at their upper bodies and I just don't really kind of recognize them.
Yeah, so the only one I recognize is the one with the 6 eyes. That's Eson the Searcher.
Yeah.
The one in the left corner.
Yeah.
The rest are just, like generic reinterpretations of what a Celestial would look like. Because they are a whole race, right? It's like, I don't know, millions of them or whatever. So, once again, artists have free rein to just design and draw whatever they want. I think the only Celestials who are really like cast in stone design-wise are like the 6-eyed one, Eson the Searcher, and the one that appeared in the recent movie, the Eternals movie. That one is Erisham the Judge.
Oh,
So those
I
two are like iconic ones, and the rest you just draw whatever you feel like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool because look, I think most of us love it mainly because it's Galactus front and center blasting whoever it is. It doesn't even matter, right? It's most of us love the fact that it's Galactus front center and just blasting away beings that are even way bigger than he is, which is just that it gives you a sense of scale, right? And I think it makes it look really, really cool.
Yep. Although
And
Galactus does get eaten up a lot. He, he I mean, even the Fantastic Four managed to defeat him, but yeah, he's kind of like powerful, but a
he's
punching bag as well. So it's kind of a weird dynamic.
it's kind of both.
You
Yeah,
always
yeah.
see him either getting beaten up or dead, or some skull of his floating about or something. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's true. But somehow he appeals to so many of us, you know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and actually, again, something about the design, which goes to what Mark has made a comment, said he always felt that Kirby's Galactus and the Eternals had a Mayan and Incan sensibility. Maybe it's just me. No, I agree. I agree that there's something about the design. It has that Mayan type or Incan type, you know. I went to Mexico once, and yeah, I mean, some of those designs, yes, remind me of this. So I wouldn't be surprised if you know. Listen, Kirby. People always think that all the artists have to be completely original. Nothing is ever original. Everything comes from some other idea that you've seen in life, and you know, and you apply it to your art and use it and just sort of take it further. So yeah, that I would be absolutely not shocked to find out that you know, Kirby had taken from those types of cultures and design. Absolutely. Marcus wanted to know, you had the advantage in your time zone for the Hakes auction?
Higgs, yes. So we are 12 hours behind or ahead of EST. So I have advantage for Comic Link and Higgs timings. Whereas Heritage is the worst because for us, Heritage is always 2 a.m. onwards.
Oh
But
yeah,
for Comic Link and Higgs, yeah, we have the upper hand. Yeah, we can stay awake. Or we are awake. It's our morning, you know.
that makes more sense. Yeah, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense for sure. Okay, cool. All right, and from there we stay not only with Cosmic,
Also,
but we stay with the character.
oh, embarrassing.
Oh, this is awesome. Why not? It's Jim Starlin this time and Milgram. Why
Okay.
not? Yeah. Let's come on, man. It's cool. I'll tell you one. The only thing that bugs me, and I always say it about these things, it's like, man, why couldn't you have filled out the friggin' background with something? You know, because it's like they got the colorists to add so much, you know, to fill out so much of that space stuff. And listen, I know the truth. The reality is, it's because the artist, you know, these days doesn't need to. He can just tell the colorist, hey, drop in a nice outer space fiery background for me, will you? Right? And then easy peasy, and they do it, you know. But the figure wise though, it's really, really cool. What do you want? The cool character by a classic artist? Yeah, man. Have you owned this one long?
Yep.
Oh,
I
really?
actually kind of think of it. Everything good. No lah. I won't say everything good lah, but a lot of good stuff was obtained before 2017 or 16.
Okay.
Yeah, which is I think when the prices really started. I mean, they've always doubled, but 16 onwards, I feel it doubled like every year or something. So
Yeah.
Before then, it was a bit more stable, even though it was appreciating in terms of value. And yeah, so this was an eBay buy of all places, and I was the only bidder. I won it at the opening bid of whatever. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
I was shocked once again, but lucky. And yeah, I agree. In terms of the background, you compare this white background to the 90s stuff and then the earlier stuff as well with solid blacks and tons of swirls and stippling and nuts and all that. It's just, especially in terms of the OA, right? It looks a bit bare. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But still, hey, you got to.
It's
a
the
cool.
biggest Galactus by Stalin. So you see a team
Yeah.
biggest full body by blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's
Got
still
it.
cool. It's still cool. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's not like if I'm a Galactus fan and I'm looking for Galactus covers, it's not like I would have passed on this just because there was no background, you know.
No,
So
no. I mean, there's a James Stalin Galactus. It's just
yeah.
So I mean, in terms of cosmic, there's Kirby, Stalin, a bit of Perez and Ron Ling. Those to me are the big Marvel cosmic guys.
Yeah, exactly. There was it was number one Marvel fan. I think you must have missed it earlier because Mark, or I think it was Mark. Was it Mark who asked about the statues? Did Dick get the Marvel Galactus from HasLab? You must be talking about a statue, I'm assuming. He doesn't collect statues. Yeah, we talked about this earlier. There's no space. Same reason for me. Literally zero space. I just could never collect. Not even one. I have no space at all for anything like that, you know. But
I have space, but I just it takes up space, and you got to dust clean them, and the boxes take up more space. I look away also because of its simplicity in storage and transportation.
Hey, Dave Kopecki, what's up, man? It's a huge toy, not a statue. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for dropping in.
Not a statue.
You mean? You mean? What is a huge toy? Not a statue.
I think that Galactus HasLab thing.
What's up, man? What's up? Okay. You guys know each other?
Yeah. So Dave is one of the collectors I've interacted with. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Hey, in that case, being my channel, I don't mind. I feel it's okay for me to say, "Where the hell have you been, Dave? What the hell took you like 2 hours 45 minutes to finally come and support your boy?" Okay, now I'm yanking your chain, but I had to do that. HasLab is Hasbro Labs toy. Oh, okay. So he's referring right. He's referring to the number one Marvel fan asking you if you got that Galactus toy. Okay, the HasLab. It's a toy, not a statue. Okay. Well, listen, I think I can answer for Dick and say, if he has no room to want to put statues in the house, I'm pretty sure the same thing applies to toys, right? Like, whether it's a toy or a statue, it's going to take up space. So I think the answer is
there's some exceptions. I have the Marvel Legends Juggernaut, the original one, just because it was actually one of my girlfriends bought it for me. But it also happens to be the best Juggernaut figurine, in my opinion, ever made. It's just perfectly over proportioned and over massive.
Okay. And no worries, Dave. Like I said, I'm just yanking your chain. I do that to everybody. Okay, but thank you for being a lurker who, you will suddenly, you finally decided to pop in and put a few comments in, man. We really appreciate that. He's waiting for when the claims start. Who, Dave? I don't know. He might be. I don't know. I don't know if Dick's going to start opening up his collection to sales all of a sudden right in the last minute of the show. But you got John. Look at John. John's already claiming 7. So sorry, John. Looks like you lose this time, my friend. Oh, hey, John. I don't know. Have you emailed me yet? Have you emailed me? John might make it to come into the studio with me in a couple of weeks.
That'll be awesome. Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to
it. I didn't know he was near you.
No. Meaning coming into the show not into my office, but being a guest on the show.
Okay, cool, man. I'll definitely join in for that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, let me know. I'm still waiting for that email, man. And Jeff wants to claim 15, but unfortunately there is no 15. So I don't know what 15 would be. Ruben, the tardy guest scolder. Yes. You know me, CJ. You know me. Thanks, John. You got the wife's blessing. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I guess you'll hit me up on an email or whatever, and we'll talk. Okay, because that's only a couple of weeks away. So, yeah, for everybody else to know, that'll be those of you who know who don't know JNGUYE1. This is the formerly known as JN80 on CAF, and I believe what are you going as now, John? You changed it from JN80, and I forget what something again. Sticking with the J, I forget. You shouldn't change so much. It makes it harder for people to find you, man. But yeah, I appreciate it. We'll talk. That'll be awesome. That'll be in a couple of weeks. That's Mother's Day, everybody. For those of you who will still be able to tune in. And let's see. I want to make sure there was nothing I was missing. I don't think so. Jeff has Fred Hembach done another? Of course, he's done collector's cards. Absolutely. Oh, you're still JN80? Oh man, is it possible? I saw you on another platform and you weren't JN80 or something else. Anyways, okay. Appreciate it. I don't know what it is about CAF, but because I looked for you under JN80 and I was having trouble. So don't ask me how I ultimately found you, but yeah, I did. I think I must have seen you making a comment on somebody's thing, and then I clicked your name that way. So, okay. There are some collector's cards out there by Fred. Yeah, okay. All right, everybody. Let us check this final piece here that we have to show tonight from Dick's collection. Speaking of what he just said, Juggernaut, speak of the devil, this is a double-page splash of the Juggernaut from Deadpool number 3. It's page 2 and 3 by Ian Churchill and Bud LaRosa from the 1994 series. And let's do the little... Look at that. Dance, everybody. Dance. Dance to the disco sound. Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about this one, Dick.
Right. So this is, once again, a result of a great friendship within the hobby.
Cool.
And managed to come to an agreement with one of my closest OA friends.
Yeah.
Who I hope to meet one day soon. When I travel to the States. And yeah, we actually did a trade. My one and only trade in my life was for this page. Yeah. So I traded him another DPS.
Okay. Okay.
So, and yeah, so Juggernaut is my third or fourth focus area. So it's Thanos, Cosmic Beings, Venom, and Juggernaut. Yeah. And Juggernaut is by far the hardest to find because he's the least prolific character, which is actually what I like. I used to like that about Thanos and Venom because before the last decade or so, Thanos and Venom art was confined to the 90s and then the 70s, and that was about it. So it was a bit more, exclusive. But Juggernaut, has never become mainstream like the other two. So his art is still hard to find. And once again, it's because of, the physical mass and musculature of the character itself is just, obscene and just out of this world. You just get this kind of massive square thing on a page, just hammering its way around is just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. It's what you said. The key word, the mass, right? The sheer mass that he represents, right? And when he's drawn like so extraordinarily large on pages, you can just feel the scale. Makes you feel that mass, and you can kind of feel what it would feel like if he managed to land one of his punches on you or just run into you. You can just feel how heavy and large he must really be. It's just really impressive.
Yeah, and then John is a fellow Juggy fan. Yeah.
Yes, I know. He's begging you to share the wealth, and of course you're not going to do it because
you can see the other Juggies on cam, John. Don't worry. When I visit you, I'll bring some along. Actually, the Juggernaut's costume design, I think, also contributes to the feeling of what you call mass and density. So I mean, once again, these geniuses, Kirby and these comic creators, like, where would you even start to conceive of of a character design like this, like a big guy with like like a penile shaped helmet,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
huge knuckle dusters. It's like, how would that work? But I don't know. Like 50 years on, it's still like such an arresting design. It's like, wow.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Rick wants to know, since you're such a fan of mass, are you a Hulk fan?
No, because the Hulk doesn't have any costume on him, so there's no
Yeah.
like distinguishing feature. Like for me, because I'm so aesthetically drawn to characters like Juggernaut. He has this very unique and enhancing costume. The Rhino as well. Like Rhino
Oh, yeah.
has kind of like a mottled skin with the horn and all that. So these mass monsters still need a bit of distinguishing or unique identifying points for me to like them. I think.
Yeah, yeah. CJ wants
Yeah.
wants you to know that he loves your juggy painting.
Yep, thanks. Yeah, the Olivetti. Yeah. So Ariel Olivetti is a painter who seems to get zero recognition compared to any of the other
Yeah,
painters.
the painters. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I agree.
I don't understand why either.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
it's just
I agree. I agree because I actually like his stuff more than many of the others.
yeah, no, and he was the mentor to many of them actually, and
Yeah,
so yeah, it's just one of those things in the art world. Yeah. And,
yeah.
and actually, my other favorite Juggy piece is a Jasko Juggy. I managed to get the Joe Jasko Marvel Masterpieces Juggernaut, the original one.
Oh,
So
okay.
that is
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
That's really
So
cool.
that is another treasure in terms of Juggernaut memorabilia. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I grew up a big time Hulk fan, and I want you to know that
Yes.
I'm speaking on behalf of the guys in the chat who want you to know that purple pants and anger is enough of a costume, and torn purple pants are a costume.
Mhm.
And
Not
I
too
agree.
torn. Hopefully, not too torn, please.
And guys, what about the green skin? The green skin, it's a costume in
But
and of
in black and white, you can't tell. It's green. That's a problem. Wow.
Yeah, Ariel is criminally underrated. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why. All right, fellas. So just to let you guys all know, we're like a couple of minutes away from hitting the 3 hour mark, which is a perfect time to end this. This was the last piece of art that we had to show. But before we let you go, real quick, is there any questions anybody wanted to ask Dick, or any comments you wanted to throw his way? Now would be the time. Shockingly, Stanley hasn't come in. Wow, I don't know what happened to Stanley tonight, but wow, he's not coming in for his final attempt to keep the show going by asking a question that takes 10 minutes to answer. But if there's anything, let us know. Mike says the Hulk is nice one. That's a perfect way to put it. The Hulk is Bruce Banner's costume. That's awesome. Good way to put it, man. Yeah. Okay, so you're correct. Silver Surfer has no costume. Well, he has trunks. He does have trunks. But here's the thing, number one Marvel fan. Well, does he have trunks? Sometimes I think he's been drawn with trunks sometimes, and sometimes no. Is he? Or maybe not.
Depends on his mood, I guess.
Okay, but number one Marvel fan, Dick, he has said it earlier. He's not a Silver Surfer guy. So he doesn't care about that. You're not really getting him with that one, Yeah, for him, it's about Thanos, which, by the way, I just want to say I really hate when Thanos is drawn without his like helmet piece and all that stuff, when it's just his weird head. I don't like it. He has to be in costume all the time. Otherwise, not a big fan personally, Hart wants to know, what's the next big cosmic purchase? Anything on the horizon that you're looking for, or nothing
To
really?
be honest, no.
Nothing particular.
Maybe a Kirby Collectors, but I missed that 10 years ago when they were on Clink.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. But
Okay.
Kirby Ego. I'm really fortunate to be in a position now in terms of cosmic collecting where I can honestly say I'm quite contented already. With what
Oh my
I
God.
have.
Oh my God. Dick, I'm sorry to interrupt you. This is breaking news. Stanley has entered the chat room. Can he rank? See, what did I tell you, Dick? You see? Can he rank his favorite movies and explain in detail? No, he can't, Stanley. But we all appreciate you coming in literally at the last minute, like literally. But no, he will not be able to do that to you, for you. Any other quick ones though? Let me see. John, does Dickie see the '90s art as the continuing hot trend for the years to come?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So I mean, like Ruben, we were discussing earlier, like my view of the comic collecting and OA collecting is that in terms of like the physical comic book reading, right? Readership, the last like mass readership boom was in the, I guess, the mid to late 90s, and after that we transitioned to digital media and online media. So in terms of like comic book readers transitioning to OA, like people my age, I think would be the current demographic going forward. And judging from the collecting habits and the buying habits of the previous generations, like those who collected bronze or silver, most collectors seem to buy and purchase into their mid 50s, some even into the early 60s. So if you look at my generation, there's easily another 10 to 15 years of increasing purchasing power and demand. So yeah,
yeah.
and the 90s would have been our nostalgic sweet spot. So easily another 10 to 15 years, yeah, I would say.
Number one Marvel fan wants you to know that you need a nice Elders of the Universe commission.
Oh, I prefer published stuff. Yeah, so
There you
but
go.
I have a few elders pieces in the background of like Silver Surfer art and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, now everybody's clowning around now, and Marcus wants you to. Can you rank Starlin's artistic time periods? Yes, we
I
have
mean,
another.
it's 70s. Well, no, actually, when he first started in the early 70s, not so hot. The mid 70s was his prime, I would say. And then he didn't do anything forever until about the 2000s. And by the 2000s, he was, I think a bit much more advanced in his age. So maybe his fine motor skills and his eyesight were not quite what they were. But Stalin was not prolific, so it's easy to say. Yeah, his mid 70s was his prime. That was it. Yeah.
There you go. There's your answer. And you thought that was going to go on for 10 minutes? Nah.
Stalin is easy.
Oh, but Marcus says, in essay form, can you tell us why cosmic as opposed to romance art? In essay form.
I've never read romance art, full stop. So I have nothing to comment on. Yeah, so.
You burned yourself on that one, Marcus. You see? That's it. Next. What else we got here? What are the? See, he's doing his best Stanley imitation. What about '90s art after the comics crash? Yeah, what about them?
So after the '90s crash and the,
no,
the
hold on. I think are you saying? Because you can read that different ways. Hold on. What about the '90s art? Oh, are you talking about after the comics end up crashing? What happens?
That's what I interpreted.
Oh, okay.
So it's like after the '90s, there's no more like huge readership of physical comic books, right? But what started in the 2000s is the internet and artists, galleries, auction houses, representatives, etc., marketing themselves. And because of platforms, like Ruben and Cav and etc. in the past, there's a connoisseurship of comic OA emerging and being recognized as a legitimate art form and investment and collectible field. So I think what will drive comic OA buying and collecting going forward is not so much nostalgic, buying from your childhood, comic book reading, but more like price appreciation and market expansion through actual appreciation of the art form itself, both for its artistic merits as well as its cultural and societal contributions, such as movies, TV shows, and video games. Yeah. So even though there's no more mass readership of comic books, I believe the art form itself has enough societal and cultural juice to sustain it going forward. For how long, I can't say, but
Okay.
there is enough momentum. Yeah.
These guys are trying to get me to keep extending the show, but I'm gonna do this last
It's
one.
fine for me. I mean, I'm just waiting for lunch right now. It's okay.
Look at this. Mark is going crazy now. I'm gonna take him as the last one because he's a fellow Singaporean. Why are the values of Marvel outperforming DCOA of the same era? I mean, he's trying to get, that's a kind of answer that, yeah, you can talk about for like the next 40 minutes, right? But I think you're not, it's not like you're a DC guy, but I'm sure you can give a quick answer to that, right? What's your honest answer to that in a sort of brief, quick way?
I don't know.
Really? Really? You come on. I would think that you
I know there's a big discrepancy. And I can't explain it. It's not like the DC comic book readership was any less in number or passion than Marvel, but
the characters
I spent 3 years writing weekly about comic book market results and pricing and market trends. I still don't know why DC underperforms Marvel. But how about you, Ruben, or anybody else? Who has a guess?
I've always said it. To me, it's a clear-cut answer. It's the Marvel from as soon as the Marvel universe began, so 1961. From that point onward, it's clear to me why Marvel has pretty much dominated DC. The characters were just much more attractive looking. Their backstories, their origins were far more interesting. You put those two together. That's kind of like if you needed to boil it down to something quick and easy, that's kind of it right there. The story, they were treated like the characters and stories were treated like they were more for adults and not geared towards the silliness that the DC universe was geared towards, because they thought they were still writing stories for like 6 to 9 year olds, and that's why I think that's the answer. They just overall more than across the board. I do think they just have way more interesting characters and a more of an interesting universe. And speaking of universe, I can also say that a big part of the reason is because, well, not anymore, unfortunately, because now they're copying what DC used to do. So stupid. But for decades, Marvel was a universe. It was one universe, and it was like everything happened in that one universe. Whereas DC was like, what? Yeah, you have Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth S, Earth X, Earth this, Earth that. It's like, what? Who? What are you talking about? Like, I don't think that appeals to most people, but I don't know. Apparently, Marvel now these days think it's very appealing, and now they're also doing the multiverse bull crap. I don't know. I've never liked that whole thing, so that's why I loved the Crisis on Infinite Earths when it came out, because I was like, okay, good. That's what DC needs to become more popular. Get rid of that whole 20 different 100,000 Earths or whatever. Make it just everything on one Earth, Whatever. It didn't last long, but now Marvel's doing the same thing, so who knows? But that's my answer. I just think overall they do have much more interesting overall characters. You don't think so, Dick? I would think the fact that you're not a DC guy kind of would tell you that. That's why I was expecting you to just say that it's about the characters.
No. I of course feel that Marvel has more interesting characters, etc. But I can't comment on the DC aspect because I'm not a fan. So maybe it's because I have a blinkered opinion or a biased opinion. So I'm sure there are just as passionate DC collectors. But as to why the market has always valued Marvel more, even in comic books, right, vintage comic books, etc., except for the Holy Grail DC keys, still with us? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so even in comic books, right, aside from the Holy Grail DC keys, Marvel has always outperformed DC across the board. But if you look at the readership numbers and market share from the 90s and 2000s, all that, it's not like Marvel was killing DC or anything. They were quite, back and forth. So as to why when it comes to the aftermarket collectability of the art and comic books, it's still puzzling to me as to why Superman, Batman, Flash, all that still underperform, generally speaking, Marvel stuff. And then this was before the MCU, of course. I mean, once the MCU started, it's very easy to explain why. But before the MCU also, that was the case. So, I don't know. Yeah.
All the modern Marvel comics are crap, according to this chat. I don't think anybody said all the Marvel comics are crap, no, I don't think anybody said that quite, but we were saying that it's just the ideas. A lot of the ideas are just rehashed and retreaded like over and over again, making 40 different versions of the same characters. To me, that's just, you're headed in the wrong direction. Like it's like Marvel's trying to become DC. Multiverses, trillion different Earths, and different versions of every character all over the place. I think that's one of the biggest things that made DC be less interesting to people than Marvel did. And now Marvel's trying to do that. I just don't understand that, man. That to me, that's a wrong move. But I don't know. That's just my opinion, Let me see what else we got here. Number one Marvel fan, who is a retailer with 4 stores, says many of the modern comics are crap. Yes, not all. Yes, that's right. Nobody says all. There's still a lot of good stuff out there, but a lot of crap. Yeah. Writes and Swamp Thing does pretty well. What do you mean? Writes and Swamp Thing does pretty well. That's like old. You mean back issues?
Not sure what you mean. Price-wise.
Like original art, maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because of the values and stuff like that. Well, no, there's obviously going to be exception, but we're just talking generally. I think Mark was saying generally, if you look at the same time period and you compare, like, okay, who's the biggest X-Men team? Let's say, okay, so you take X-Men art or Avengers if you want, and DC, it's only Justice League. Why is Justice League from that period so much cheaper than the X-Men or the Avengers art from at Marvel from the same period? That's why. I think that's what I explained. I think that's the answer. I'm pretty sure what I said is the reason. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, that's my opinion. I don't know. Other people may have different opinions. DC Universe movies also harms art value. I don't know if that's true that harms art. I don't think it really affects it. It doesn't help it. I don't think it affects it. Because if you're a DC fan, and that's what you want to buy and collect artwork from DC, you're gonna collect it whether the movies are good or not, right? Like I don't change my art buying habits based on the fact that, like, I don't even really watch most of the movies anymore. That doesn't really affect me.
I mean, to me, most of the MCU was very well executed, but not very passionate. It never instilled much passion in me, the MCU. But my favorite superhero property of all time is Peacemaker. So, and to me, John Cena is an Oscar-winning actor.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, all the Marvel stuff sort of blends into one for me. I think.
Okay. Oh my God, that's funny. Okay, so Mark is saying, I'm not sure whether story matters as we are buying art. And then Marcus follows up with story matters. So I think you're both right to a certain degree, because there are times where I know what Mark is saying, right? Mark is just saying, look, you think about collectors who will buy modern contemporary artwork just because they're attracted to the art, and they're not reading comics. They're not reading contemporary comics. It's like when I bought a couple of pages, like when I told you guys when I did that show with Fred Chamberlain, who reps Eddie Barrows. He was posting all this Eddie Barrows art, who I love, and I've been admiring it for a long time. And finally, a couple of pages passed. I was attracted to them enough that I said, you know what? I'm going to buy a couple. I'm going to buy these 2 pages. I still haven't read. I intend to read it eventually, but I don't have to have read it just to buy the artwork. So I get what Mark is saying in that sense. But from what you're saying, Marcus, I do get what you're saying too. Because I've been in situations where the art does mean more to me if it comes from a book I really enjoyed and loved reading. So from that point of view, that's also a statement of fact, you know. So I say you're both correct, you know. Oh my gosh, Jason, what is up? Caught the tail end. Been a long day. No worries, dude. Thanks for dropping in so late. I'm shocked we're still here, but these guys, we were going to cut it right at the 3 hours, and these guys started asking questions, joking around, and then we started taking some serious ones. And I know we gotta let Dick go get his lunch.
No, don't worry. It's only 11 a.m. here. I've got another hour. So for me, it's great. I'm very awake. It's a public holiday. I'm fine. You guys are the ones who have to work tomorrow. I'm good.
Yeah, but don't say that, because then these guys are going to continue with the questions. We can't go too long. Marcus also says, or else Craven's Last Hunt is just a Craven versus Spidey art. No. Of course, like I said, of course, but not always. That's all I'm saying, is that it's, story doesn't always matter, and so therefore, Mark is right. Story sometimes doesn't matter, but sometimes, of course, it does. Absolutely, both are correct. I would say, yeah. So look, there goes Stanley. Can you keep the show going another hour or two? I don't know. The way it's going now, you guys may seem to force us into that way. We're like literally 14 minutes away from setting a new record, which I didn't expect would happen for a very long time.
Let's go for the record. Yeah, let's go for the record. Yeah, let's do it.
But people have dropped off. People have been dropping off, so that usually that's when I say, okay, you know what, we got to cut it. I'm doing pretty good, huh, Stanley? Yeah, you see, Marcus took over for you, Stanley. He did a great job tonight. X-Men are crap. Marcus, I guess, likes crap. Stanley, yeah, great work, Marcus. Loves to see it. What else we got here? Marcus, yeah, the Stanley imposter. Tell us more about the Singapore culture, and if there are more or less retail comic shops. Do not answer that. Do not answer that, Dick.
Less. They're much less, for sure. It's the same as the US. The situation is the same here.
Let me see. It affected me to gain interest. I think you're talking about stories, Ian. Oh, watching movies, that is. Okay, watching movies. Okay. Alan Moore written stories get a premium. Of course, we all know that. Of course. Stories matter. I'm just saying that all I'm saying, and I think it's what Mark was trying to say, is simply that a lot of people do collect art without reading the stories. Ergo, that's what he meant by, I think. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Mark. Like, stories don't matter, and just in the sense that you can still be a collector of the art even though you know nothing about the stories and what went on in the stories. I think that's kind of all what he was trying to say, and that is true. It is absolutely true. But stories do matter because, of course, yeah, we not only me, but a lot of us seem to care about it a lot more. When the art we like comes from a story or run that we really love. So of course it does matter in that sense, for sure. Story, characters, and art all matter. Nostalgia too. Yeah, it all does to some degrees. Absolutely. We're going to talk with next week's guest, the man with the hoarding plan. NSN Mark, he's not even here anymore. I think he took off. But yeah, guys, before you all take off, oh my god, there was people that dropped off and now they came back. Okay, no. You guys should leave because we gotta close this out. What did I want to say? Okay, so Mark, I chose my home and uni dorm based on proximity to comic shops. Come on, you didn't.
Wow.
Come on, you didn't. Stanley, does Dick socialize with collectors much?
Yes.
Has he been to many cons?
So actually in Singapore, the OA collecting community is very active, We have a few chat groups here and with about 20 to 30 collectors, active collectors. In such a small little area, it's quite impressive, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
And we actually organize meetups every few months at each other's houses and stuff like that. And
Wow.
we have a Singapore Comic Con and every year. It used to be organized by Reed, the same people who do NYCC.
Reed is the one Reed is the one who organizes the Singapore Comic Con?
It used to be Reed, but I think they changed hands this year or last year. But it's still it moved to some other big exhibitor, so it's still a very big show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So from my understanding, we're actually quite lucky in Singapore that the OA collecting community is quite active. Like apparently in the States and a lot of other cities, it's hard to even get a small group together of collectors. But here it's no problem actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. And Mark is confirming that yes, he chose his moving where he was going to live and his at university based on the proximity to the comic shops. That is wild. Oh man, what collectors will do for their hobby, right? You know the answer to this, Marcus. Do you go to US cons? Marcus wants to know.
Mainly NYCC because I love New York. But other than that, no, I haven't been to any other US con.
Okay. Okay, guys, just a reminder because I have not shown it yet so far tonight. Please come back next week if you can. If you have the time, we'll have some more fun. Next week is going to be a show and tell with Mr. Mike NSN Art, who you just saw in the chat there. Here's the handsome helicopter pilot looking fella on the left-hand side. Yeah, he's going to be here next week, and it's going to be a show and tell that if you guys thought my episode with Mark Vega was, shall we say, eclectic, I think you will find this episode next week really eclectic. I mean, we're talking about the artwork that we will be showing. Very, very eclectic. So I've seen it all. Mike has this time. Mike picked it for me, just like tonight. After a huge long stretch of weeks and weeks and weeks where I was the one picking for everybody, finally I now have two weeks in a row where my wonderful guests did the picking themselves. So that's cool. And yeah, I'm not going to say much. Let's just say esoteric is the word next week. But like in a great way. Like it's really, really cool, different stuff we're going to show next week. So please do tune in and to check that out. And what else? Okay, no, you guys. Does Dick believe in having a single Grail piece or many? Okay, you can take the question if you want, Dick.
Well, I don't know whether you were here for my earlier story, but one of the pieces I shared was my Grail from before I started collecting OA, and I told myself that would be my Grail. But I managed to obtain it, and it's one of the great pieces I have. But it's that there's no. If you mean a Grail as in you get it and you stop, I don't think that exists. But if there is an ultimate piece that you want, and it will, then that's fair enough. Yeah.
Okay. There is one question I wanted to get to. I hadn't forgotten about it, Mark, because it was a serious question. It wasn't necessarily an attempt to stretch the show out. He's curious. How do you ship when you buy expensive original art in the United States? How do you go about getting it shipped? What methods do you use to get it shipped to you?
I actually leave a lot of stuff overseas. I don't bring it in because I don't need it in my hand to know that I own it.
Yeah, but
those that you bring in, just use VPost or whatever, FedEx, DHL, usual. Yeah.
Wow.
But actually, I think more than half my collection is sitting in dealer and auction warehouses and friends overseas. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
It's interesting, I don't need to have it in hand to know that I own it. It's just the as being a collector, right? Just the joy of knowing you have it is good enough. Oftentimes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay, guys. Look, let's close this out. We're not going to set a record tonight. Next week's going to be great with SNN. Yes, it will. As long as you guys show up. I mean, without you guys, I can't really have much fun. But you guys got to show up as always. If you do, it's going to be fun. It's always fun. It's fun because it is about all of us shooting the shit. This is why people ask me all the time, why do your shows, they don't really watch them, and they're like, why do your shows go so long? And it's like, see, that's the thing. They go long because it's not just me chatting and interviewing with some guy on screen. It's all of us. I'm the voice piece. I'm the mouthpiece for every guy who shows up and makes the effort to post comments or questions, right? I'm pretty much hitting almost every comment and question. So it's because it's all of us. That's the only way to get all of us talking, since we can't verbally hear you guys in the chat, right? So that's why the shows last so long, because we do a show and tell, whether it's 10 pieces like tonight on a hangout episode, or whether it's 20 pieces, 24 pieces on a show and tell episode. We do so much talking because all of us, I talk, I'm the voice for all of you guys. That's why the episodes go so long. It's because all of us are talking. It's not just two guys talking. People who don't watch, they just look quickly and they see there's two people on the screen. So they assume, okay, whatever. One guy's going to interview the other and everybody else just watches, right? So of course they think, why the hell is it taking so long? What could it be? How many things could he be possibly asking that guy, right? If they don't watch, they're not going to realize just the fact that all of you guys get a voice through me, right? And that's it. That's why the show goes so darn long, because it's like, just picture all of us in a room hanging out, talking about the hobby, right? So that's why if 20 to 45 of us are here at any given time, we're gonna be here for hours chatting for sure. It's a lot of people. So okay, so last comments, real quick, no more questions. How many times have you Starlin? Boo. What are you booing me for? What are you talking about?
Ruben, like, can I ask one question to drag the show into record territory? If there's no other questions in the chat, so my question is, because my articles used to be very centered on market reports, market movements, pricing, etc. What is the chat's view on where the market is now? Like, is it experiencing softness? Is it going down? Which areas are heating up and cooling down? What's the outlook? The kind of just general comment. Yeah.
So you clearly are trying to set a record. You want to be my
record territory. Yes.
Okay. It looks like we're gonna set the record. Sorry. So many people have dropped off though.
Okay, even if it's just you and me, I like to hear your opinion, because this is like I love the monetary value part of the hobby. Like, it's one of the unique facets of it, right? That keeps us.
Yeah. Let me just say quickly, good night. Rich has to leave. Thank you, Rich. Thank you for putting up with all of us stretching the show out for no good reason. Really appreciate you. Thanks, man. I'll see you soon, hopefully. Let me make sure. Okay, Mark saying thank you, Mark. Stanley, of course, wants to know, what are your lunch plans?
Something called Penang laksa. It's spicy and sour, and it's noodle. Oh.
It's less than 2 minutes now. Number one Marvel fan. Do you dye your hair, Ruben? I have never in my life dyed my hair. Come on, you can see like gray. You can see gray, shiny gray stuff. I mean, like on the sides, it's grayer than the top. No, I do not dye my hair. I never have. Not even for fun at Halloween, even though I kind of wanted to once. Look at these clowns, so funny. Ruben the Berkey. What is Ruben's favorite T-shirt? Can you prove there is poutine in Singapore? You guys are too much. Great show, Dick. Cool guest. Thanks, Ruben, in the chat. Thank you, CJ. Thank you. One of the few serious comments in the last 20 minutes. Ian says, Ruben, will you be the voice for a record? Apparently so. We're going to set a record, apparently. We're going to make it, Dick. Well, wait a second. Are you like emailing him? Are you like texting him and trying to do this on purpose? Oh my God. Guys are coming back in. No, they're not. They're pretty much everybody's who's gone is gone. And it's going down because there's no $1 million piece this year. Oh, you mean the market? Yeah. To what he asked. Then it's going up when Nick sells his Spidey Boy art for $400,000. Mark says, I expect the market for key pages of Grail pieces will continue to increase, driven by group buyers and whales. Look, Stanley wants to let you know, great guest. He loves your commitment to the show length because that's all he cares about is the show length. Did you try for Tradmore art? I don't think he cares about Tradmore art because that's, first of all, it wasn't about, So no, the answer is no. So I'll answer your question, Dick, real quick. What I've noticed lately is there has been some softening in the market, right? But what I have noticed softening is what I had been predicting, I don't know, 8, 9, like last summer or something like that, less than a year ago. What I had been telling people was that, because back then, about a year ago, people were like, hey, what do you think is going to happen going forward? What do you think is happening now? And because even a year ago, people were already kind of thinking, oh, I think it's going to slow down soon. I feel like it might be already happening, this and that, right? And what I said at the time is I said, you know what's interesting? Because I thought about it a lot. And I came to the conclusion that what I believe is going to happen, and ultimately I think it's proving itself to be true. What I said to some friends last year is I can foresee where up until now, historically speaking, okay, those of us who have been around since the 90s or earlier, right, you would always talk to us and you would always hear the same things. You would hear us say, well, what do you think is the future of this hobby? And everybody would be like, well, yeah, it looks like it's probably going to, be strong for a long time. It'll keep going, whatever, But everybody would always say, at one point, there's probably going to be a slowdown, right? But there'll be a slowdown or maybe even a drop or maybe even a crash. Who knows, right? I never believed in the crash philosophy personally. But what everybody would always say was that, okay, when that happens, if and when that happens, right, the slowdown, as long as you're buying the quality, blue chip, cream of the crop art, you're going to be safe. And everything else will be the stuff that drops, right? The mid-tier, lower-tier stuff. But a year ago, when people were asking me what I thought was going to be happening, I said, you know what? I think that for the first time in the history of this hobby, I think we're going to see the opposite of what has always happened. I do think there will be some sort of slowing down in the not too distant future, is what I was saying a year ago. And I said, but I think, given how astronomically high the values of the higher end art have climbed over the last several years, I was of the opinion last year that the first things that are going to start slowing down and coming down are the so-called blue chip, whatever you want to call it, the big pieces, the large, expensive stuff, right? And that's what I've been seeing over the last few months is exactly that. When I see something that I'm like, oh, shit, I think that thing sold for a lot more last time it sold. Every time I see something like that, it's an expensive piece. It's a piece that's like always like in the 5-figure range, like a $25,000 piece, $50,000 piece, $75,000 piece. Most of the stuff that I see selling for less in 2023 than they were selling a year ago or 2 or 3 years ago, everything I notice is high-end stuff. The stuff that everybody was always saying, that's the cream of the crop. That's the stuff that will always hold its value. But it doesn't seem to be. Because I think it went up way too far, too fast. And that's why I predicted that, okay, the mid and especially lower range stuff, I think is also going to be the opposite to what it usually is, which is I felt as long as the economy, the world economy is stable, I felt that the lower and mid-range stuff would continue to be solid. I'm not saying skyrocketing, continuing to skyrocket, but I didn't sort of feel that stuff would really be coming down in price. That's my feeling. And And listen, I'm sure you guys could probably point out the examples of some mid-range stuff and low-end stuff that also sold recently for less than it did a year ago. I don't know. All I can tell you is I feel there's a lot more room for the really expensive stuff to come down. A lot of the expensive stuff still has a lot of room to come down, much more than the mid and lower range stuff. That's my answer to you, Dick. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so actually, I'm of the opposite view of you.
Okay.
But so what I've been noticing is that, as you said, those pieces, those 5-figure and above pieces that flip within the last 1 to 2 years, generally they are cheaper now. But that, to me, is due to just being flipped too soon, lah. You know, there's the one overbidder is already removed from the market, and so it went a bit lower. But those pieces, in my eyes, haven't crashed either. They've been like the underbidder price, you know, maybe like 10% lower or something.
Yeah.
But they are still, you know, around the 5-figure level. But where I see the weakness, and even privately and, you know, on the auctions, the 5-figure sales are still ongoing, and especially for like the fresher to market stuff and the 90s stuff is still booming along. For the more in-demand artists and titles. Where I've seen a bit of weakness is, I wouldn't say cheaper, but the lower tier art.
Okay.
So it's not that the quality is lower, it's not that the price is lower, it's the demand for those kind of art is lower. Like, you know, and then I've seen like maybe the focus auctions at Clink, or some of the weeklies on Heritage, or even like the Sunday on Heritage signature auctions. I've seen those pieces weaken, like noticeably weaken, but they were never worth much to begin with, you know. They were at most $1,000 or few thousand, but mainly in the hundreds. And those I see have weakened quite considerably. But anything that's still in demand, or, you know, has any kind of following, I don't see a crash, or there's a stabilization, maybe a very slight retracement, but no like crashing, you know. There's,
Okay.
I mean, of course, there's 1 or 2 artists who move up or down, but that's normal for any market. But
right.
That's my view. So I guess to summarize, my view is that the traditional viewpoint still holds. But interesting to hear your viewpoint in that you think that the highs are going to come down. Whereas for me and the traditionalists, we think that the highs will maintain or go up. So
yeah, I want to make it clear though. I don't mean across the board. I mean, there's like so much stuff went up to crazy 5-figure levels and above. So I'm just saying, if the softening is happening, it will be in a lot of those. Again, a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, because you're going to think I mean almost everything. No, it's still going to be a small percentage of everything that exists and has sold. You know, a really small percentage. But as I say, I just think that's where there's more money to be lost. There's just so much art, I think, that really, for example, should have been worth no more than 10 or 12,000, and it went to 35,000, and things like that. Things that really just, I can't even think of any specific examples right now, right off the top of my head. But yeah, there will be examples in all price ranges of things that go down. But what I'm saying though, Dick, is I've already been seeing, you know, like everybody. Okay, I can think of the one example of the Jim Lee Batman page from Hush that sold at the last Heritage auction. I think it sold for 40 something, 43 maybe, and I think it previously had sold for 60 something. And you know, that's Jim Lee. That's as blue chip as an artist will get, and it's a blue chip character, Batman, right? Like Hush, famous storyline, like it had all these supposed positives going for it, but the guy who sold it lost $30,000 or something like that. So yeah, So I just think that
To me, maybe if we're talking about that example, yeah, like, it was because it was flipped too soon. That's part of it. And
that could be part of it. It could be part of it.
because like the lower level hash pages in the 20,000 range, they're still damn strong. They're still going for 20, 30, 40.
True too. That's true too.
Even 2 years ago, I was offered a nice page for 8, and I was like, sorry, but no thanks. And the very next day or month, it jumped to 20, and I was like, what happened? And it stayed there.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, look, I'm not saying I have the answers. I don't have superpowers to tell the future.
yeah.
I could just tell you what I feel. So far, what I was saying to my friends last year, I can say that I have been correct. You know, I'm not, because I never said there was going to be some, all the high end art is going to correct and it's all going to come. No, I just said I can see if anything does come down, there will be certain pieces here and there that went up too much too fast, and I think there's absolutely a lot of room for those to fall. So that's what that's what I was saying to them, and I think I can say I was correct. Those kinds of things have been happening. I've seen plenty of examples in the last few months of things that sold for way less. And yes, I know what you're saying. A lot of those pieces tend to be pieces that are resold too soon. Whatever. I can't sort of, I can't control that, right? So,
no, but it's true, because there was a period where when even if you resold too soon, you still would make, most likely. Whereas now you resell too soon, you will probably lose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, number one Marvel fan. We are not going for the super duper 4-hour record. Oh my God! I'll probably some of my regulars, the regular live chat crew members, may never come back after they see this debacle. I mean, it's fun. Listen, you guys know I've said it many times when we went really long. I will go as long as everybody else wants to go. I would do it for 5 hours. I can talk, as long as my guests want to talk, it's cool, whatever. But at the same time, when we are losing viewers, whatever, this is kind of crazy. People are going to be like, oh my God, another new, all the people that watch on Rewind, they're going to be like, what the heck happened this time? Oh my God, it's almost 4 hours. Oh shit, whatever. But, they'll have to tune in and find out for themselves why it actually dragged past the 3 hour mark anyways. But yeah, so no, Dick, I mean, I've been right so far, if you will, but that doesn't mean anything. Ultimately, I think the overall hobby, this is what's more important, right? I don't want to talk really about, it's not really important to talk too much about exceptions to the rule. Because so far, the things that I'm talking about have been few enough compared to how many pieces actually sell on any given auction, let's say, And there's few enough examples that, of course, it's still the exception to the rule. So what's more important is the overall hobby, the entire hobby across the board. How is that? How do you see that going? And I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. I do see like you say, like a kind of stabilization happening already right now to some degree. On some things, you keep getting crazy high prices. Other things, people are taking losses, and then on other things, they're selling for what they should sell for, So it's kind of in flux. The market seems to be in flux right now. I think going into the future, far future, I still think, we were talking privately before the show, and I've always said this. I believe there will be a further generation that comes in ultimately to buy this stuff. But remember, everybody, with original art, don't talk about the kids. The kids, there's never been kids in original art, right? Original art is expensive enough. People typically, the youngest people get into it when they're in their 30s. So I do believe there's going to be another generation coming in after us. And I think over the next, short to medium term, say 5 years or so, whatever, I think, it's going to be okay. I think it'll be at worst a stabilization of the upward climb that we had for the last several years. At worst, I think so, with, exceptions to the rule of things that do go down, people losing money on exceptions, you know. But for the most part, I think the market as a whole, I think going forward, I think it's going to be okay. Yeah. Clearly, Dick, you're kind of worried going into the future. I think you do believe that maybe there's not another generation coming, right?
Not a generation of comic book readers, but like I said, art
Art collectors, I mean.
appreciationists and people coming from the movies, video games, and pop culture in general. But that would mean that a lot of the less collected and less high profile properties will drop significantly. But that's the same with any market or collectible field anyway. Only the top few percent does well. Everything else will have to languish. And so far, OA has been the exception in the last 10 to 20 years in that everything from top to bottom moves up. The top moves much more than the bottom, or even the bottom moves. So and then doesn't really drop, which is a phenomenon in any capital or financial market, quite honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Stevie B, you're back and we're still live. Exactly.
Ruben, it's okay. We can end it. We broke the record. You can sleep now.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard record to break, I'm sure. But that's what I said for the last 2 records, and we still broke them. So, Marcus, yes, a milestone show. Give Dick a trophy for a record-setting show. Man, if anything,
encourage this.
You guys probably deserve the trophies for forcing me somehow to let it keep going. Dick ain't got no stinking worry. Apparently not, except lunch is going to be ready soon. Dick wants to be the longest, and he's got it. He definitely got it. Up and away. And when one buys low, future value doesn't really matter. That is true. Just you got to buy right, not low. Low is hard. Buy right, at least, But everybody, thank you again so much for everything. Thanks for oh God, yeah. What, Ian? Thinking more book guys may move to art with the YouTube and more book collectors learning about the art world. That's very possible. I hope so.
For sure, it's happening already. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And how much I don't know, obviously, but I hope so. Yeah, and it's certainly possible. So let's hope. It's whatever's better for the hobby. That's what we should all be hoping for. So, Mr. Easy Go Lucky, you're back. Given how long it's gone, how many likes do we have? Because guys, I can't see it through my software here. How many likes do we have? Did we at least get like 40 likes? Please tell me you got at least 40 likes. Somebody tell me, Mr. Easy Go Lucky, for the record. A very and by a long shot too. By so far 18, 19, 20 minutes or something like that. So anyways, thank you, CJ. Appreciate you. And thanks to all of you, of course.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
See, what a rob. I went this long for you guys, and I only got stuck with 35. Come on. Seriously? Couldn't even get 40 on an almost 4-hour show? Oh, lazy bastards. Okay. Dick, give me a minute, and I'm going to be right with you. Is that cool?
Sure.
Okay, don't hang up.
Everybody, thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. And okay, guys, thank again so much to everybody for hanging. Those of you who hung in, obviously, I understand everybody who dropped out had to drop out. This was a crazy record-setting night. And some of my friends are going to get pissed off. They're going to be emailing me, "What the hell are you doing? I can't watch that show." But honestly, look, the truth is, I care a little bit, yes, but not that much. I care mostly about you guys who do come in and spend the time with me and my guests. And as you guys know, that's what matters to me more than anything. So if it ends up being a very low view episode, because of course the rewind watchers see that it's almost 4 hours and they're like, screw that, I'm not watching this one, right? If that happens, then whatever, so be it. It is what it is. As long as you guys had fun, I had fun, certainly. That's really ultimately what matters to me. And thanks, Rich. I appreciate it. Thanks to all of you, especially all of you who hung in for the duration. Those of you who came back as well. Those of you who stretched out this motherfucking episode to ridiculous levels. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's fun regardless, and that's what this is all about, right? We had some fun. That's all we care about. Yeah, let's maybe not do it again, at least not anytime soon. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Thank you, and thank you for hanging in all this time. Really appreciate that. Gonna chat to the midnight hour. James, you're back. You're back, and you must have been shocked to see us here. Oh my God! Like they're still going. Yeah, you'll have to see at around the top of the third hour, when we got to the hour 3. You see these guys started lacing me with questions purposely just to get me to keep going and going and going. And somehow I let them do it. Stanley, can you please do 2 to 3 shows a week? Yeah, no, I can't. It's hard enough to get different guests just once a week. I consider doing another show, multiple in a week, but it's just so hard to get different people. So. But I appreciate the interest, though. That means a lot. Thank you, Stanley. And yeah, high five, Stanley. Exactly. Hang in another 10 minutes, and you can bill it as the May Day episode. Yeah, thanks, TVB. There you go. All right. So thanks, guys. Again, really, really appreciate you. Thank you. And Ruben was clean shaven when the show started. Yeah, exactly. Now I got the 5 o'clock shadow starting. That's so funny. Thanks, guys. And I'm going to leave you with the promo for next week. So please come back and check me out with NSN Art, Mike Dellery, and I will put that up here just to remind you what it looks like. Of course, you could always see it anywhere else on the channel, but I will leave you with this, and yeah, that's it. Please tune in next week, and we'll have some fun with Mike, who's probably watching this but's fallen asleep already. But thanks again, guys. Really, really appreciate it. It really means a lot. And that's it. Catch you guys next week, hopefully. And yeah, we'll see you then, and we'll have a little bit more fun. All right. Peace.